course, ranked 6th in the nation. But for Coach Bobby Bowden, he has some new faces in new places, especially along that Seminole offensive line.
Well, you're entirely correct, Paul. Coach Wayne McGuffey, the offensive coach for Florida State, said that there'd be a whole lot of hiring and firing going on this week. And freshman coming in, and your All-American Pat Tarmelin is hurt and probably
still in terms of injuries. And Deion Sanders, he will not dress tonight.
Not dressed. In fact, he's down on the sidelines playing with the ball, throwing it up like he'd be catching it for a punt. He did injure that knee, and I tell you, he's going to be missed, Paul, because he brings to the defense an offensive mindset. He's able to, from his cornerback position, and especially his punt returns, to bring on an offensive or a type of excitement to that defensive side of the ball that's very hard to replace.
When you talk about offensive punch, look at Sammy Smith. You mentioned the problems in the offensive line and in injuries. Smith has been troubled by injuries so far. He's a little grumpy right now with the results of 111 yards rushing, no touchdowns. This game was billed as a battle perhaps between two Heisman Trophy candidates back in July. Terrence Jones is a fantastic quarterback for Tulane. Him along with number 33 and Sammy Smith, both Heisman hopefuls, but that talk has died down considerably as of late.
You're entirely correct. The Heisman hype is kind of gone. Although Jones is having a very good year. He's on pace to set or exceed his single-season total offensive record. Sammy Smith, on the other hand, not a lot of carries, no touchdowns, has been hampered by injuries, but nevertheless two great athletes.
You mentioned Tony Rice at Notre Dame, Steve Taylor at Nebraska, great run-pass combination quarterbacks. Bobby Bowden says this guy in Jones is better than them all, the best in the NCAA. We'll find out for ourselves as we kick it off. 6th-rated Florida State and rebuilding Tulane in the Superdome in New Orleans.
Working in Latin America isn't everyone's idea of how to spend their retirement. But not everyone's like Peace Corps volunteer Virginia White. Her lifetime of experience has given new life to this community. Water to once arid fields, produce where crops never grew before. She's helping people to help themselves and others. No matter what your skill, you don't know how much you have to offer until you offer it, and then reap the rewards. Peace Corps, the toughest job you'll ever love.
Now, a learning video, official Little League Baseball rules. The first and only official rules video can be yours by calling our 800 number. This video makes balls, infield fly, force slide, interference, all the most important rules of baseball easy to learn. So act now. Call our 800 number and get your copy today for only $39.95 plus shipping and handling. Order now and you'll also receive a free collector's pin. So call and get your copy of a learning video, official Little League Baseball rules today.
If somebody is having an off night, take charge. We lose too many lives when fans drink and drive. So have your friend pass the keys. It's the biggest assist he can make.
The green wave of Tulane. 3-1 on the year and flying high. And right behind them, the garnet and gold of FSU. Florida State having won 3 in a row over Southern Miss, Clemson, and last week the rout of Michigan State. And Tulane, the sole loss at Iowa State. Victories over Tennessee, Chattanooga, Kansas State, and Memphis State. This is the 6th meeting in history between these two universities. Officially, Keith Jones, the record book shows that Florida State has beaten Tulane 5 times, but there was one Tulane victory that was erased due to the fact that John English, the Green Wave quarterback, was ruled ineligible. Greg Davis, in his very first year as the head coach here at Tulane, he spent 6 years at Texas A&M. The Seminoles on a roll, and following that rugged month of September when they faced the Rose Bowl champs in Michigan State, the Atlantic Coast Conference champs in Clemson, and the national champions in Miami. Looking at the month of October is perhaps an Oktoberfest, a little lighter schedule, and it begins tonight on October 1st.
In 1981, Florida State had 5 away games at powerhouse stadiums, and they called that Oktoberfest, and it was a negative. As you say, Paul, with the October contest coming up for Florida State here, Georgia Southern, Carolina, Louisiana Tech at home, it's a little bit of a lighthearted Oktoberfest.
The last time these two teams met 1 year ago, and it was a rout. 73-14. The Seminoles with more than 50 points in the second and third quarters after a 7-7 tie through the first 15 minutes of play.
10 touchdowns scored, over 600 yards of total offense for Florida State at Doak Campbell Stadium. It was indeed a rout, 3 points short of Florida State's all-time scoring record.
Sammy Smith in that game scored 3 separate touchdowns, rushed for 124 yards in a single game, mind you. And here through 4 games, he's been held to only 111 yards rushing. We mentioned that earlier, and has failed to score a TD. Sophomore Richie Andrews has it teed up at the 35-yard line. Richie from Fort Lauderdale will be kicking deep to Terrence Strickland, number 6 at the top of your screen, along with Michael Pierce, a junior. Pierce, at the bottom, averages nearly 30 yards per kickoff return. He busted a 93-yarder for a touchdown. So from the Crescent City of New Orleans, we are underway. It is the dangerous Pierce. To his right, the 20, and down he goes. On the stop for Florida State, it is Tracy Sanders, the defensive back, and Sanders along with his defensive mates trying to pick up the slack now with Deion Sanders being out.
Sanders not in the contest. Corian Freeman starting in that cornerback position. Aside from the physical talent, aside from the great play, it's very important for Corian to fill his part in that leadership role and maintaining continuity in that defense.
First play of the night, and you see the stats on the great Terrence Jones. Right away to the air if he can, and he cannot. Phil Corallo, the senior outside linebacker, is there first at 6'2", 232 for the sack, the 8th of the year for the Seminoles. Here the offensive skill positions for Tulane, and Jones has thrown for 6,864 yards during his career, rushed for close to 1,500 yards, and along the offensive line, they surrendered 7 sacks last week too, so they're facing a fierce pass rush here. Perhaps the pressure causing Jones to throw it away there. Everyone covered, and he dumps it over the head of the back in the backfield, and there's Corallo again. Higgins, the captain, and Gabbard. Moss, Hadley, Smith, and Felton Hayes. Hadley's place taken by Corallo. Sanders not starting tonight. Sanders, Shiver, Butler. It's Corian Freeman in Sanders' position. 3rd down for Tulane. Again to the air. Everyone coming. This is why he's dangerous. That's a first down for Terrence Jones. How do you do?
He is so capable of so many different things. Look at him from the end zone here. He's going to drop back. He is a good, pure passer. 5-step drop, nothing open to the left, break to the right. Now watch his experience. He knows he's got to get 10 yards for a touchdown. Watch where he steps out. Gets his block, first down, out of bounds, don't get the punishment.
A gain of 15. First down for Tulane. Inside handoff. Running room and more from Melvin Adams, the fullback. The senior from Jennings, Louisiana. Leroy Butler, the free safety on the stop. It's a gain of 8. And with the exception of Jones, 3rd down scramble. That's the first running play for Tulane in this opening drive.
Tulane offensive statistics read about 210 yards through the air a game and about 112 on the ground. So 2/3 of the time they should be putting it up top.
Inside again, another hole and another first down. Adams the second time. He's Tulane's leading rusher at 213 yards on the year. 6'1", 221, decent size.
Well, they've got 3 good backs. They can bring in Rodney Hunter anytime that Adams or Pierce are a little winded or a little down. Hunter plays both positions. They have a capable running game, especially when you consider the yardage racked up by Terrence Jones as well.
The second first down of this opening drive, which began at the 25. 3 yards shy of midfield. Play action in the pitch. And it's Rodney Hunter. And Hunter is up to midfield, and it's Butler again, the free safety, Little Leroy, who pops him out of bounds. You like Rodney Hunter, for he can play two positions, both fullback and tailback, and he's a Florida native from Miami and Southside High School.
He's a 3-year letterman coming into his senior season. He's played since a freshman, and he brings an added depth back there that he can play either position, and he can get game experience all the while.
And you know, he's pumped up to face a team from his native state. They moved the ball to midfield and are on second down. Adams into Seminole territory. On the stop, the first contact made by freshman tackle Henry Ostaszewski, 6'3", 244 from Boynton Beach.
When you look at Tulane's offensive attack and you look at yardage gained and how gained, you look at receivers and their receptions, you'll see Tulane run the ball up the middle or try to get outside with run or pass.
Third down and 6. Tulane must reach the Seminole 43. Jones looking for the hit. Somebody goes. The blitz, and it's Stan Shiver, the senior strong safety.
The Georgia native all over Terrence Jones. The one thing Shiver does so well is get up in the air and block vision. Be coming from your left, he'll get up, can't throw the ball, come down for the sack. Very athletic play.
That's the second sack of the night suffered by Tulane, so the drive stalls after the loss of 7. And to punt is Micah Noisy, a sophomore, averaging 38 yards a kick. Deep to receive, not Sanders, of course, rather Leroy Butler. 8 men up. Noisy gets it away. A pretty punt. Butler at his 14. Loses the football. And Florida State has it. He was stripped of the football, Keith, after making the grab, a 38-yard punt.
Well, Butler certainly knows what a football is. Ask anybody that saw the Clemson game. He does a good job of bringing the ball in, eyes on the ball, puts it in, and then stripped right there. You've got to get that ball up in the top part of your body, not down around your belt. Florida State very fortunate to get on top of the ball. I believe that's Anthony Moss right there, able to come up with the loose one.
Corey Dowden, a reserve defensive back, number 29, put that hand down. No score, 11:37 showing in this first quarter, and it's Chip Ferguson's turn to run the offense. And a big haul for Carter to the 25 of the boundary, the 40, midfield, and down to the Tulane 45-yard line. Dexter Carter, the junior, a 40-yard gallop on the first offensive play of the night for Florida State. Mulmore, the linebacker, on the stop.
Zone blocking, picks a hole, gets outside. Great block by the fullback. Couple of arm tackles. Here's where the talent of Carter comes in. Watch him make the first guy miss. Not you. Pursuit catches him. 40-yard pickup.
100 yards rushing for Carter coming into this game. He is FSU's leading rusher. And the front line shaken up as it is. Michael Tanks, the new starting center. An inside handoff to Dane Williams, and there is nothing doing there. Andy Treadway, the right tackle, a sophomore, made the initial contact as we look at Tulane's starting defensive 11 tonight. Treadway, number 76. The linebackers, Richard Harvey, their team captain, Keith, was a 3-year letterman.
Still a player of the week last week.
And the secondary, Thornhill, is a freshman from Pensacola, Florida. FSU facing 2nd and 10 at the Tulane 45. A sweep to Carter. Hemmed in. Puts the head down and gains 1. And there is Harvey playing so well, the senior, 6'2", 227, the national player of the week, and a guy that had 15 tackles against Kansas State 2 games ago.
He's their leading tackler. Wherever the ball is, Harvey will be there. Also does a great job because of his speed and agility and pass protection. Notice also, Paul, Tulane typically 8-man fronts, got their weak side in backed off.
On 3rd and 8 at the Tulane 43. Ferguson to throw for the first time. Steps away and will scramble. Back to the middle and a first down. To the 34. Well, if Terrence Jones of Tulane can scramble, here is Chip Ferguson, the senior from Charlotte, North Carolina, showing you what he can do with everybody covered. Sauter, the left tackle, on the stop for the Greenway.
Maybe not as nifty, maybe not as fancy, maybe not as fluid, but nevertheless effective. Good move there to elude a tackle. Gets kind of a wall back there. Dives in very close to the first down. The officials deciding to measure.
Well, I had thought that he had dove across and inside the 35, but no, says the referee and Terry Monk. And so the ball pushed back outside the 35, sets up 4th down. And the Seminoles on 4th and inches will go for it. This possession began back at the Florida State 15-yard line. Big play thus far. Dexter Carter on the sweep. Dane Williams, the fullback. Carter still at tailback. They set him down with 2 tight ends. Carter with trouble on the handle. Off the pitch. But he has the first down. Carter's off to a great start on the gain of 8. That's his 3rd carry this evening. Good for 50 yards, and he's getting some blocking up front.
4th and 1, you got to get people off the ball. Offensive line surge, most important. Blocking at point of attack, guard pulling, kick out the end. Dexter Carter right in behind there. That's the way you draw them up.
What a block by the tight end Tom O'Malley to seal it.
Seal block down on that defensive end.
No score, just under 9 minutes remaining in the first quarter. It's Carter cracking inside the 25. Right behind the block of Tanks and Yeoman. Offensive coordinator and offensive line coach. He was as feisty and as intense as he could be this week at practice at Florida State.
Well, that he was. The offensive line is Miami game, very poor performance. Southern Miss, Mississippi, and Michigan State, pretty good performances. Clemson, great performance, but no consistency. That's what he's looking for.
Yeah, Wayne McDuffie, offensive coordinator and offensive line coach. He was as feisty and as intense as he could be this week at practice at Florida State.
Well, that he was. The offensive line is Miami game, very poor performance. Southern Miss, Mississippi, and Michigan State, pretty good performances. Clemson, great performance, but no consistency. That's what he's looking for. Consistent play.
On 2nd down, the blitz, and Carter is hit behind the line of scrimmage and knocked down. Perry Leslie, the nose guard, the sophomore, 6'1", 225. Leroy Brown, too, the outside linebacker. Florida State keeping it on the ground, entering this game, averaging, as a team, only 121 yards per game running the football. But already tonight, you have 54 yards in the form of Carter and 8 more from Chip Ferguson, so 62, half of that total. In an 1/8 of a football game, less than half a quarter. Here's Ferguson on 3rd down. Penalty marker down. Ferguson scrambling and knocked out of bounds. At the 19 by Mitchell Price, the free safety. Pretty good lick on the quarterback.
Price is a player, 3 interceptions coming into the ball game, but we do have a flag.
Holding offense.
First penalty of this football game, and an option here, I would think, on a call like that, and with a field goal kicker such as Andrews, you push Florida State back.
Well, then you're going to have a situation for Coach Bobby Bowden where you've got 3rd and long, and inside the opponent's 30 or just outside at the 32. That defense gets bunched up. It's real hard to make yardage in that type of clip in this area of the field.
Bobby Bowden in his 23rd season with 177 career victories and 104 at Florida State. Indeed, 3rd and long, 3rd and 16. The ball spotted at the Tulane 32. A scoreless first quarter still as Ferguson sets him down. That's Anthony to the top of the screen. They set up the screen. Carter at the 35. Carter back to the middle. At the 27, down he goes. The linebacker, Vincent Mulmore, knocked into the turf. It's 4th down.
Tulane with a very active linebacker core and a very, very talented secondary, although they're young. You know, you look like a guy like Fulmore, 235 pounds, and yet he can run. I mean, it's absolutely amazing the team speed of the back seven, if you will, of this Tulane club.
The first completion of the night, nets 5 on 4th and 11. Richie Andrews, the sophomore, who has hit 3 of his last 4 field goal tries this year, will try it from 43. Plenty of play, but it's no good. He hooked it to the right side. Richie had missed his first 4 this year and then appeared to come out of the slump. Scoreless football game with 6:50 remaining. And this is the first quarter from the Superdome in New Orleans.
College football takes center stage as Sunshine Network features the top teams from around the country. Florida State fans can watch the Seminoles as they make a run for the national championship. Sunshine also features contenders from the Atlantic Coast Conference, the Pac-10, the Big Ten, the Southwest, the WAC, and major independents including Notre Dame, Penn State, and Syracuse. With 20 college coaches shows and weekly college football reports, Sunshine also has the Miami Dolphin Weekly and Florida College and Pro Report. While action on the gridiron heats up, collegiate soccer kicks into high gear as South Florida takes on traditional Eastern powers Boston University and Connecticut. Collegiate hockey fans can also see defending national champion Lake Superior State take on Michigan State. More action from Sunshine includes women's volleyball featuring Florida at Florida State, the racing report from Calder, Florida Sportsway, public affairs, and more on Sunshine Network, Florida's sports network.
First down, interception for Sanders. Sanders with the blocker. Sanders scores. Tracy Sanders, the quarterback, into the end zone. That is the 3rd interception returned for a touchdown this year. Florida State has only 4 interceptions on the season. 3 have gone for touchdowns.
The other Sanders, the forgotten Sanders, who had a great preseason, has been playing great all year long for Florida State. Going to step right in front of this out pattern. And look at the athletic ability. Watch him settle, set up the block. Come on, guys, where you at? There you are. Back inside. Could have been a tailback most anyplace else. 6 points, Florida State.
Shelton Thompson with the final clearing block. And Andrews, who missed seconds ago, knocks through the extra point. Again, it's the defense that gets things going in big play fashion, something Coach Craig Davis of Tulane wanted to avoid.
Just a simple out pattern, nothing real fancy about it. But when a corner can settle, knowing that he's got help behind him to protect against that up, he can be aggressive on that outbreak, as Sanders was, and then he puts on that good athletic ability, and into the end zone he goes.
Yeah, when you're from Bradenton, you're enjoying it in the end zone. And the first guy to congratulate him is supposed to be our halftime guest.
The other Sanders, you see the brace there on Deion Sanders, number 2 for Florida State, his brace on his left knee. Nothing real serious, but holding him out for tonight's contest.
There we have a halftime feature coming up, too, that Scott Atwell has prepared on prime time. We think you'll enjoy that as well. 7-0. That big play striking again. You had Butler scoring 26 yards out a week ago against Michigan State. Leroy on an interception return. Against Clemson, Deion with the punt return.
Play had the big interception, I believe, in the Southern Miss game. So great offense from Florida State's defense.
It is Andrews, end over end, and he hit it well. At the goal line, Michael Pierce will take the touchback, and Tulane will begin 1st and 10 from its 20. To reiterate the point, Greg Davis in his first year here at Tulane, and the Greenies under Mac Brown, who is now at North Carolina, the head coach a year ago, and now Davis, they have won 9 of their last 15 regular season games. So they've been going well as of late, but to do that, you have to avoid giving a team such as 6th-ranked Florida State 7 points.
Not only that, extremely tough in the dome, 9 of 11 last home games here.
Terrence Jones on first down to the option. And the pitch, a loose ball. And it's fallen on by Rodney Hunter. Hunter, the tailback in the option to the right side, recovering his own mistake. So they're a little rattled here, Keith, with 6:25 remaining in the first quarter.
Well, Florida State all season long, with the exception of the Miami game, able to convert on the big play or create or make the big play, whether it be a punt return, a blocked punt, an interception return for touchdown. Florida State able to capitalize and make big things happen.
Second down, a loss of 3, 13 yards to go, and it is the draw. The draw to Melvin Adams. Odell Higgins, the nose guard, the junior from Bartow, Florida, on the stop. Odell is nursing a sore ankle, one of the many Seminoles who come into this game nicked and bruised.
Well, when you talk about injuries, you talk about the things that keep you out of action. When you talk about playing hurt, to the layman, that would be a nick or a bruise. You've got to be able to play hurt. Florida State would never expect anyone to play injured.
On third down, Jones to throw. He's yet to complete a pass. He's gunning deep here in man coverage. And it's caught. Jerome McIntosh beat Corey and Freeman. Tulane's leading receiver in McIntosh. He, too, a Florida native from Niceville, on the receiving end of a 39-yard grab. Jones' very first completion of the game.
Very gifted athlete is McIntosh, a former quarterback. Jones sprints out, gives McIntosh times to get up. Watch, if you can see, Corey and Freeman had turned around 360 degrees, lost a step, the ball perfectly thrown. It's very important. See how he swivels his hips out? He didn't sprint out of that swivel, and that allowed McIntosh to get behind him and make a great catch.
7-0, Florida State leading with 5 minutes remaining in the first quarter. Off the pitch, loose ball. And it appears that the Seminoles were there first. Michael Pierce having trouble holding on. That's 3 times tonight the Green Wave running backs have lost the ball. And Florida State indeed comes up with the football.
That's a great shot of what happens at the bottom of those piles, buddy. You don't get up till the referee tells you to. Great pressure inside.
Eric Hayes.
Bad pitch, ball on the ground. Who's got it?
Alacat.
Alfonso Williams. Again, interesting, Paul, when that ball's on the ground, you've got to stay wrapped up with it. And you don't get up till the guy with a hat on tells you to get up, and you may be waiting for him to tell you 3 times before you move.
Alacat Williams is not a bad guy to have at the bottom of the pile, clawing for the ball. First and 10 from the 33, Sammy Smith, number 33 for the first time. And he's dropped for a loss. Smith entering this game with 124 yards, but Keith, a tailback, has not scored a touchdown this year for Florida State. You mentioned the great Sammy Smith, Dexter Carter, Keith Ross, Chris Parker. None of those guys have gone into the end zone on a running play.
That's right. 4 games without a rushing touchdown from your tailback position. If you'd asked Bobby Bowden if that would happen, he'd have bet the house. No way. 2nd and 11, they lost 1. Off the draw. Big hole for Marion Butts, the fullback. And Butts is close to a first down before Thurston Harrison, the right cornerback, and a senior, makes the stop. So a new backfield for quarterback Chip Ferguson. In the junior, Marion Butts, the fullback, who takes the handoff here. Coach Wayne McDuffie said Marion Butts is a guard, and we're not telling him any different other than run the ball when we give it to him. He's so big, he's so strong, he's so athletically gifted. They played him at linebacker, they tried him at defensive end. He's now back on the offensive side of the ball.
From Sylvester, Georgia. That's Dossie to the top of your screen. And the draw to Sammy Smith. He bounces outside. At midfield and a first down and out of bounds. 42-yard line. Sammy Smith. The strong safety, Lenzer Burton for Tulane, a sophomore from Boca Raton, Florida. on the stop.
The thing that Sammy Smith brings to the Florida State attack is the ability to get in traffic and then with that great speed accelerate out of it. He knows how to run in the open field. He knows how to set blocks up. And that speed is a dimension he brings to that Florida State running attack that, quite honestly, is sometimes unbelievable.
Between Butts and Smith, Florida State with 25 yards on the ground in the last 2 snaps. First and 10 at the Tulane 42. To the right for Sammy Smith. Inside the 20. That's the Sammy Smith we remember. A 24-yard gain.
Well, Sammy Smith this year, because of some injuries and some nicks and some bruises and a little bit less playing time than maybe he thought he would like or would want, he's getting a slow start. But already in the second series for Florida State, coming in, accelerating through the hole, breaking back inside, not taking the easy way out. That's the Sammy Smith that Florida State fans and the rest of the nation need to remember.
Sammy Smith's 3rd carry for 37 yards now. Inside handoff against the flex, I believe, Keith. And it's Marion Butts for a yard.
Well, anytime you get inside Tulane's 30-yard line, they're going to bring those linebackers up. They're going to bring that strong safety up, and they're going to run an 8-man front. They're going to take Pierce and put him in the center, let him play center field, if you will. Coach Bobby Bowden well knows that if you can run up the middle of Tulane inside their 30-yard line, then your offensive line's doing the job, but it's awful tough to do.
Now, the defensive coordinator for Tulane is John Devlin, who coached 2 years at Florida State, 71-72. He is a veteran, highly respected assistant coach. On second down, Sammy looking for daylight. And close to the 10-yard line. You see the way he picked his hole.
That he did. When Sammy Smith is in there, if you're an offensive lineman, you want to just hang on to somebody. You want to stay with somebody. Watch the offensive line. They're going to match up. They're going to lock up, and then they're just going to stay with their blocks. Because you want to give him a crease. He can find a little narrow lane there that most people could never get through and has the ability to do it.
Chip Ferguson taking a while to get the play in. The play clock is down to 7 as they break the huddle, so they'll have to hurry. 5 now on the play clock. 7-0, Florida State lead. They get it off in time. Burton, the strong safety, did an excellent job, along with Lonnie March, the outside linebacker, of stringing the play out and letting the pursuit come to the football.
Well, as we talked about, when you move that strong safety up and you decrease the way those linebackers are backed up off the ball, in other words, you bring them up short, running the ball is awfully tough, and Tulane does that inside the 30, forcing Florida State to go for the field goal.
Richie Andrews missed earlier from 43 yards out. This to make it a 10-0 game. A 33-yard try angled to his left. And the kick is good. Andrews 1 of 2 on the night. And Florida State playing in top 10 style leads Tulane 10-0. We'll return to the Superdome in just a moment.
When Friend fell, he called for help. But the only ones there were ignorance, incompetence, indifference. Friend called for help again. Confusion came instead. At last, help came. Help knew what to do. In times of emergency, are you help? Learn Red Cross First Aid, where you work, or call your local chapter.
To unlock your body's potential, we proudly offer Soloflex. 24 old-fashioned iron pumping exercises, each correct in form and balance. All on a simple machine that fits in the corner of your home. For a free brochure, call anytime.
The American Heart Association. We're fighting for your life.
I hope they never stop fighting.
10-0. Florida State leading homestanding Tulane with 1:09 remaining in the first quarter. Florida State a little more effective on the ground, Keith Jones. than they have been in 4 previous football games. Richie Andrews puts it into the air. And this is Pierce at the 20. And pushed back. On the stop for Florida State is Reggie Johnson, the reserve tight end. A return of 20 yards.
Florida State doing what a lot of teams are doing in the 80s, kicking the ball to the corner or into one side, trying to narrow the width of the football field in order to bunch that return up. That time executing it very well, holding them to the 22.
28 yards rushing for Tulane through nearly a full quarter. And Jones, 1 of 3, as you see, for 49 yards. And the interception that went for a touchdown. Firing over the middle. And on the slanting route, it's McIntosh for a second time. Both completions from Terrence Jones have come to his favorite target in the Florida native McIntosh.
And don't think that the Tulane offensive coaching staff doesn't know that Deion Sanders is out, Corian Freeman is in. That time again going to Freeman's side, testing the new starter.
A gain on the play of 15. 1st and 10. And it's 37-yard line. Inside handoff to Rodney Hunter. And Hunter is across the 40 and up to the 41-yard line. Kelvin Smith, the strong side linebacker for Florida State, the sophomore, 6 feet tall, 235 from Jacksonville, knocked him down. 15, 14, 13 seconds. This may be the final play of the first quarter. Again, Hunter up the gut. 3rd down approaching as the first quarter winds to a close. We've played 15 minutes in the Crescent City of New Orleans. It's Florida State by 10.
What would it be like to play in a Pro-Am with Tom Watson?
If you see anything I can improve, Tom, just speak up.
You have to turn your back to the target every time you make a full swing.
Oh, thanks, Tom. You got any more pointers?
The best one of all. You get a lesson every month.
Golf Digest. Call 800-351-4700 for a full year of Golf Digest for $12.77. 46% off the cover price. Order now and also get golf lessons from the pros free. Call 800-351-4700.
The Orlando Magic is holding tryouts for its elite professional dance team, the Magic Girls. During the next 2 weeks, tryouts will be held at 4 locations. Applicants must be 18 years or older, high school graduates, and may not be affiliated with any other professional athletic organization. Applications can be picked up at area Burger King restaurants, tryout locations, and Orlando Magic offices. Preliminary and final tryouts open to the media and the public. For further information, call the Magic at 407-422-7433.
In 1984, Larry Bird walked away with the NBA's Most Valuable Player Award. In 1985, Magic Johnson walked away with the NBA Championship. In 1986, Isaiah Thomas walked away with the All-Star MVP. And in 1987, David McGrain did something even more incredible. He simply walked. Take the next step. Support Easter Seals.
Can you think of a better place to watch a football game than here, the house that Opulence built in New Orleans?
Thunderstorms all day long, rained half a day, but it's always dry inside.
As we begin the second quarter with markers down, so is Terrence Jones. That defensive front has been all over Tulane in the backfield tonight in the first half.
Florida State's defense continuing to show good improvement. As we get the illegal motion call there by Terry Monk. They've showed consistent improvement every week from the Miami game. Of course, they had a long way to come. But from the Southern Miss game on to and Clemson and Michigan State and the rest of them, great improvement. And I know Coach Bowden there. You see Amata there, Coach Amata on the left, Jim Gladden, Amata the defensive line coach, Jim Gladden the outside linebacker coach. I know they've got to be pleased with their effort.
Gladden, Jim's been there 13 years.
Recruited me.
Did he really?
Was my recruiter. I came into Florida State. Coach Jim and his wife Patty are great friends.
Micah Noisy's first effort of the night was good for 38 yards. Leroy Butler had trouble Fielding it, he had it stripped free. He'll try a second time with 10 men on the line of scrimmage for Florida State. They fake it. First down. The Podorowski for Tulane. And on the carry, Danny Michael, a reserve defensive back. Turnaround fair play, would you say, Keith Jones? It's good for 31 yards.
As Coach Greg Davis would say, Bobby, if you can do it, I can do it too. Not as flashy, not as dramatic, but great execution. Watch the Florida State outside guy come inside. That leaves it wide open, and 13's off to the races.
Dedrick Dodge was crashing, and Butler had to come up to make the play.
Butler, of course, the one who ran the ball in the Clemson game.
10-0, Florida State. But here is Tulane in business at the 30. Jones with Moss chasing it all the way back near midfield. Guns and a great count at the 24 by Maurice Nelson, the flanker. The senior with his 8th grab of the year and his first of this game. Penalty markers down, however. 5 yards.
Nelson doing what a good receiver should do when the quarterback's in trouble, find some pace and get open. I'm pretty sure this call is going to go against Florida State.
Personal foul, roughing the passer, defense, first down.
Bobby Bowden can't like that. The hit will come after Jones. Lets it go.
Good pressure.
As he would, and pressured, Keith, by Moss.
Good pressure by Moss. In fact, doing a good job of trying to contain, but with so much speed and agility, hard to do. I think we're going to see Odell Higgins or one of the other defensive linemen come in. Ball's gone. As you saw there, the late hit. Great catch by Tulane.
See if we can pick it up. And it will be Higgins. You called it, bad ankle and all, that drills it. A fabulous catch, too. The first penalty of the game against Florida State.
Against Florida State in a very inopportune time and in a very inopportune place.
Let me check that. The second penalty of the night. The first one was for holding. So 2 penalties for 22 yards against the Garnet and Gold. The fake punt, the great catch. You tack on the personal foul call. And it's 1st and 10 Greenwood at the Florida State play. Off the right side, it's Michael Pierce. No game. Felton Hayes with the nice defensive play for Florida State.
Eric Hayes, similar name, on the defensive front, actually making the play go. That time Florida State with a defensive stunt up front. Hayes, Eric going outside, tripping up. Felton following behind to mop up.
No game. Second down from the 12 going in. Jones with 3 receivers to the left side. Throw. And it's incomplete. Stan Shiver in man coverage on Michael Pierce out of the backfield. But we may have a second marker down. Let's see. No, we do not. Shiver's had a pretty good first half.
That he has. In on a sack. That time doing a good job of staying with Pierce out of the backfield. A tough thing to do. Running away from the ball. Turn back around and get a hand on it.
Third down here. The blitz is on. Man coverage. Jerome McIntosh defended by Dedrick Dodge. 10-6 as Terrence Jones hurls his 6th touchdown strike of the year and his first tonight. Boy, he floated in there beautifully.
Very, very difficult throw, running away in the end zone. You got to worry about throwing it too far, but yet getting it up high enough to get over Dedrick Dodge. Outstretched hands would have been good in the NFL. 2 feet down.
Fittingly in the Saints end zone. Todd Wiggins with the point after is perfect. And McIntosh has 3 receptions for 76 yards and 1 touchdown. Tulane has made it a ball game again with 13:27 remaining in the first half. Back in just a moment.
More and more families are moving closer and closer to our forests. That's why, if you're careless with fire when you go to the forest, you could burn a lot more than trees.
Here's Monday's sports action lineup on Sunshine Network, Florida's sports network.
Steps like this might be impractical, but we can help you prevent childhood injuries. Call us for a free booklet about injury prevention, the National Safe Kids Campaign.
9 plays, 78 yards for Tulane as Jones hurls to McIntosh for the touchdown. Here's Keith Ross to the 25, still on his feet. Look at him go! Still on his feet! And up to the 34. You'll see longer runs, but few more determined than the effort there by the senior from Newberry, Florida. The tackle made by Eric Racklin for Tulane.
Keith Ross, Paul, brings, as we've said, all year long, and actually all his career, a great dimension to that kickoff return. Low, fast, runs with his knees up, able to run in traffic.
Ferguson is formed on first down. This is Marion Butts. And Butts across the 40, narrow first down. I was starting to say Ferguson is 1 for 1 tonight. Only a 5-yard completion. That came on third down on a little swing pass into the flat. It's been primarily a running game for Florida State thus far.
Coming into the contest, Florida State's offensive coaches wanted to run the football at Tulane. Run out the clock, establish that offensive line continuity that Wayne McDuffie wants, and so far tonight they've been successful.
Butts gains 9, setting up second and short. Sammy Jukin to midfield. A little shuffle move. The trait of a great running back. Richard Harvey, the inside linebacker, was on the stop, and we have a green wave down as we take another look at it.
Nothing real fancy, just a simple deep handoff. You want to get the ball to Smith deep so he has time to see what's going on. Zone blocking up front, little stutter step, then accelerate through that crease. 6'2", 221 pounds, and I tell you what, he can certainly motor.
That is Linzer Burton, it appears. It is being attended to by the Tulane trainers. 10-7, Florida State leading with 12:33 remaining in the first half. Bobby Bowden's been in here before, and he says this is a difficult place to come in and play well. When they lost in '83, Florida State had everything go wrong. The buses got lost in heavy traffic. The police escort didn't show up. The hotel rooms got messed up. Well, last night they fly into the New Orleans airport, and the buses are late again by about an hour. The Seminoles were stranded and waiting on the buses. Coach Bowden said, oh, no, not again.
Deja vu, as it were. I tell you, that '83 contest was certainly a weird one.
Live college football coming up, as you can see, throughout the year. Coming up this week, Rutgers and Syracuse. That ought to be a good one. Air Force and Navy. The Falcons against the Midshipmen. And UCLA, one of the top teams in the nation. And in the Pac-10 facing Oregon State. All live next Saturday. Linzer Burton is able to get back up to his feet. And he'll be replaced by Rick Crozier, the strong safety, the sophomore. 12:33 remaining. And this is the first half, as Chip Ferguson leads the Seminoles up to the line of scrimmage. Tank still in at center. And it's Smith. And he goes. Boy, the Grays were all over him. And the charge led by Eric Racklin. He's big at 6'2", 225, the outside linebacker. Great size and agility.
Well, you've mentioned, Paul, that two of the defensive coaches for Tulane are former Florida State coaches. In fact, one of them, Bill Shaw, defensive line coach, is a 72 graduate of Florida State, was on staff when I played at FSU.
Sammy Smith, 7 carries, 44 yards. Inside a handoff punt. And he gets 5-6. Apologies in order here, Keith. We had inadvertently misspelled Sammy's name, spelling it S-A-M-M-Y instead of S-A-M-M-I-E. I certainly apologize from all of us. He's certainly a far greater player than that to have you and I stare at that and not notice it.
Well, the guys in the booth are real quick because they've got it corrected now, and I think Sammy would appreciate that.
3rd and 4, and Chip Ferguson doesn't like what he sees. That 8-man front again, giving him trouble. Oh, and you work against 3-man fronts and 4-man fronts, 5-man, odd-man fronts. It's a lot different, isn't it, with an 8-man front?
It does two things. Number one, from a running back perspective, people are in the hole or in a lane quicker than you expect them to be, because normally the strong safety backed off 6-8 as much as 12 yards. Linebackers backed off 3 or 4 yards. You know, your timing is a little different. You expect that the people won't be there as quick. But when they stack everybody up there, everything's a quick read. You don't have a lot of time.
You got guys like Richard Harvey and now Pat Stanback in there. Some good talent. And Harvey, a senior who's played a lot. Hey, you can really see the progress that Tulane has made.
Well, it's certainly not the same Tulane team that Florida State played last year in Doak Campbell Stadium. 73-14. That's right. And they've got a continuity about them. They're playing a lot of aggressive ball. I mean, when you tell a group to put 8 people up there, you better go all out, or the 3 guys that are left in the back are going to sit on the back of the bus.
Well, the Superdome, as you see it there, who would have thought that it would be home to 2 teams in postseason play a year ago? Both Tulane and the New Orleans Saints went to postseason play. Tulane played in the Independence Bowl against Washington, and the Saints in the NFL playoffs against Tulane. 3rd and 4 as Chip returns from his visit with Coach Bowden. At the 44, they give it to Sammy, and he earns the first down. Give it to the All-American and see what he can do off the right side. And it's Pat Stant, the linebacker, credited with the tackle.
When it's 3rd and 4, you don't do a lot of lay back, stand up, and meet somebody. You get off the line of scrimmage. That time we see a guard pulling, butts kicking out, Sammy Smith following right behind, running hard, running tough, picking up the first down.
That was a freshman, number 60, Mike Morris, 6'2", 251 from Miami, with the great pull and block. And Sammy off to a good day. Ferguson, gunning, nobody there. A good thing to get rid of it. Bruce Lesane was somewhat close to it, but he was breaking deep for the end zone. Rick Crozier, the strong safety, on in relief of the shaken-up Linzer Burton, was closest man to the ball in the green jersey.
Well, Lesane there was running a go pattern or a straight pattern. You want it, or you think you're going to get enough time when you fake everything to the left and a naked bootleg right. That time Tulane not fooled, and Ferguson didn't have time to throw it. Actually probably threw it away.
2nd down and 10. The ball spotted at the Tulane 37 with 10.5 minutes remaining in the first half. Man in motion, Reggie Johnson, the tight end. Wide open, Lesane. Lesane to the 20. Lesane loses the ball. And the officials confer that the ground caused the fumble. That's the discussion now. If Lesane lost the ball when he hit the ground, it's Florida State's football. If the back judge said that it popped out, it belongs to Tulane. You have your answer.
Couldn't quite hear it, but Terry Monk saying the ground called the fumble. Lesane trips a little bit right there. I'll tell you what, Florida State got a break.
A gain of 17. Ferguson now is 2 for 3 for 23 yards.
Watch the ball. Watch when it comes loose. Is he down? Not now. There's the ball. You don't have the instant replay in college. You have it in the pros. I think that there would have been, what is it they say, conclusive evidence had it been reviewed.
There is a gondola which hangs above the Superdome, and the fans can see the play on instant replay. So they saw the ball come loose too, and you hear their reaction. The natives are not happy. Ferguson on first down. And it's first and goal, thanks to Ronald Lewis, the junior, in front of Thurston Harrison, the right cornerback, a pickup of 13. That's 30 yards through the air in 2 snaps. As the little man in Ronald Lewis on the down and out.
Very gifted, fluid athlete. Push, push, look inside, break it out, plant and turn. Little stumble. Watch Ferguson lead the ball back upfield, back towards the line of scrimmage, keep it away from the defensive back. Lewis down on the ground to make the catch.
Meanwhile, that's Mike Morris, the fine freshman guard, being attended to by Florida State trainer Randy Orovitz, along with assistant Jack Minucci. And as you see, they are working on that left leg.
I tell you, Paul, this AstroTurf or tartan turf or rug or carpet or whatever they want to call it, I hate the stuff. I didn't like playing on it as a player, and I don't know that there needs to be a ban of it, but certainly it's a tough surface to play on. First game that Florida State's played on since they played Michigan State last year up at the Spartan Stadium, and I just don't like the stuff. I wish there was something different we could do.
Well, your old head coach there dislikes it so much that not only does Florida State not have a practice field of AstroTurf, but they did not work out in this stadium at all prior to tonight's game. They showed up this evening for the first time and walked on the carpet. The first time, as you mentioned, in 13 games since the trip to East Lansing that a Seminole has walked on an artificial surface.
Well, everybody says why, you know, is it because it's so hard? Well, no, it's not because it's hard. The fact that it's a hard surface is not the problem, but you get too much traction or so great a traction that your knees buckle, your ankles get turned because your feet are so firmly planted.
Join us Saturday, October 8th at 11:30 as we continue our same-day coverage of FSU. The Seminoles return to Tallahassee to take on Georgia Southern. That's Florida State football Saturday night here on the Sunshine Network. Leading 10-7, first and goal at the 7. Marion Butts off the inside handoff and into the wall created by inside linebacker Vincent Mulmore. 6 feet tall, 235. The Seminoles would truly love to punch one in on the ground tonight. That score is somewhat deceiving, for if you take away Tracy Sanders' 35-yard interception return for a touchdown, this is a 3-3 football game. Tulane against the number 6 team in America, Florida State. From the 6, Sammy Smith into the end zone. And there's the first touchdown by a tailback for Florida State. The sigh of relief. Florida State comes down the field as Sammy Smith earns his first touchdown on the ground of this his junior year. The Seminoles 10 plays, covering 66 yards and 4 minutes off the clock. And here's Andrews to add the PAT. 16-7 your score. The holder, Brad Johnson, the freshman. To snap it, David Whittington. 17-7 in New Orleans.
Nothing real fancy. Split back, sweep action to the right. You got a pull and tackle, I believe it is, or actually the tight end coming around, kicking out. Sammy Smith cutting back inside, waltzing into the end zone. As you said, Paul, first touchdown rushing by a Florida State tailback.
And Joey Ionata, his dancing partner beneath the dome. Sammy Smith, 56 yards rushing in the first half alone. And we'll be back.
Okay.
Acquiring the world's most powerful supercomputer, Florida State University has entered a new era in research capability. Already boasting such resources as a superconducting accelerator, FSU has bolstered its national reputation in the sciences and basic research. Scientists are pioneers in superconductivity, tropical meteorology, oceanography, and other fields of research. Florida State faculty and students are addressing the needs of the nation's fastest-growing state in such areas as criminology, law, social work, and the environment. Researchers are solving problems in nutrition and health and are studying ways for the Sunshine State to prosper, from small business development to collaborative research with major corporations. From the beautiful main campus in Tallahassee to its academic and research centers around the globe, Florida State is known for its excellence in both the sciences and the humanities. A birthplace for critical new ideas, Florida State University.
Paul Jensen is a recovering alcoholic, but he found help.
Calling it a day? Yeah, another day. Another great day.
The Salvation Army.
Andrews sends it end over end. And this is Michael Pierce to the 20. Out of bounds, 21-yard line. On the stop for Florida State, Johnson again. Reggie Johnson, the sophomore, made a couple of tackles. And Pierce, too, has speed. You can tell that he's a dangerous return man.
Well, averaging almost 30, or actually better than 30 yards coming in. There's another man with some dangerous speed. You know, it's interesting. The game has changed so much in the last 8 or 10 years, Paul, that speed and size is so different than when I was there, and certainly people that played in the 60s and the 50s before.
4 of 7 for 81 yards. The stats on Terrence Jones and 1 TD. Six Nelson. Well, that was 6 if it was on target. And the man that's a little bit red-faced perhaps is Tracy Sanders, who was in trail, the cornerback.
I'll show you what out-and-out confidence is. You pick one off and run it back for a touchdown. Me, Terrence Jones, I'm going to let you do that again, and I'm going to fake it. But this time, I'm going to turn my receiver up. And if but for about 2 extra yards on the ball, it'd be 6 going the other way for Tulane. That's how much confidence this Tulane offensive unit has in the arm of that young man, Terrence Jones.
Hunter and Pierce behind Jones, but he's thinking pass. And he's scrambling a second time and has 3. Tracy Sanders on the stop. Keith Carter off the pile as well. Gave him a gain of 4. 3rd down and 6 for Tulane with 8:43 remaining in the first half.
You know, Paul, coming into this contest, or actually coming off the 87 year, this Tulane offense was averaging 32 points a game, was able to move the ball in terms of yardage. The offensive line, though, had some changes coming into this year, and certainly it's been something that they needed to improve on.
There it goes. There first is Keith Carter, the Miami linebacker, with the 3rd sack of the game by Florida State.
We're going to get a good look of exactly what I was talking about. Carter's going to come right up the middle. The center doesn't get off and get to him. He's got a clear lane right to the quarterback.
Micah Noisy near his own goal line, the sophomore, his 3rd punt of the game. Well, his 2nd, actually. The other one was fake, and it's Leroy Butler who lets it bound at the 42. A punt of 42 yards by a fella averaging, entering this game, 38. So a good kick by the sophomore from Fayetteville, Arkansas. 17-7. The Seminoles by 10 with the football back and 7.5 minutes to do something with it.
Coming into the contest, Coach Greg Davis of Tulane said he had to do and control the special teams. And with a fake punt and your punter punting the ball out of your own end zone for 42 yards, I think Tulane has the edge.
I set, that's Dane Williams, the fullback, and Carter, the starting tailback. And it's Carter. Oh, for about 2. 2nd down and 8. Lonnie Martz, the outside linebacker, the junior, on the stop. He's made more than a couple tackles in the first half.
I'll tell you what, when you talk about the Tulane defense, you're probably not talking about a finesse group. You're talking about a group that'll get after you.
Like Michigan State somewhat.
Exactly. That time Dexter Carter not real happy with maybe a little extracurricular activity, good, clean extracurricular activity when Tony March brought him down.
Lewis to the top of your screen. Anthony to the bottom. Play action for Ferguson. Burton, shaken up earlier, returns to the game and drops the interception that hit him right in the 5.
Probably the worst place that you can hit a defensive back, right in his hands. You know, sometimes the DBs don't get a lot of work during practice in what's called the ball drills like the receivers do. That time Burton makes a good move inside. It's right where it needs to be. And down she goes.
Chip was hunting the tight end and sophomore Dave Roberts, and Ferguson has thrown only 1 interception in his last 3 games. And in 200-plus yards of passing, he's collected, well, at least 200 yards passing in each of those games. They fake the reverse, and Sammy has daylight. And it's a foot race inside the 30. And Smith with the afterburners on is tripped up at the 8-yard line by Doug Adams, the trailing defensive back. They fake the reverse. Sammy Smith with 48 yards on that play alone has cracked the 100-yard plateau in the first half. 104 his total thus far.
And for the first time this season, everybody blocks down, guard pulls out, fullback fields on inside linebacker, and it opens up like the Red Sea. Now watch this move back inside. Cornerbacks have got to maintain, safeties have got to maintain outside to in pursuit. That time Tulane does not. Sammy Smith off to the races.
Another big play for the Seminoles. And somewhat like the game with Tulane a year ago when Florida State enjoyed a big second quarter. It's Smith off the left side and into the end zone a second time. He had 3 touchdowns against them a year ago, 2 tonight, and he's back to form. A gain of 8. He has more yards rushing, Keith, in this first half than he had in 4 previous games.
That he does, and we're going to see a case of no repeat. Watch Doug Adams, number 31 for Tulane. He took the inside route and let him outside last time. 33 for Tulane there, Thornhill. This time he fakes outside, does Sammy Smith, turns back inside. That's great execution on 2 plays in a row, one setting up the other.
It took Florida State all of a minute to go 58 yards in 4 plays. Sammy Smith, his second score of the night, his second of the season. And it's Andrews right down the middle. Timeout on the field. As Florida State's lead has ballooned to 24-7. The Sunshine Network is the place to be for all Seminole fans watching tonight's game. Join us Tuesdays at 7 o'clock for the Bobby Bowden Show. Wednesdays at 7 o'clock for Seminole Uprising. And Thursdays at 7:30 for the Seminole Scouting Report. That's Florida State football right here on the Sunshine Network. Good old clean Gene Deckerhoff. I wonder how he called that touchdown a moment ago by Sammy Smith.
Everybody reaches, Pipers pulls. Watch Sammy Smith fake outside this time. Thornhill bites, turns back inside, and boys, it doesn't get any better than this.
And knocked them all down. Gene Deckerhoff, the longtime voice of the Seminoles and also hosts Coach Bowden's show. He's in fine form here in New Orleans.
You know he is. Gene.
Here's Andrews. They're pinning Pierce against the boundary as he brings it up the sideline. There's little daylight over there. And the stop is by hard-hitting Bill Reagan. The way Andrews has been kicking, they're using the boundary strategically against Pierce.
We talked about that earlier. Essentially what you do is you have the width of the field. Football field some 53 yards wide. You have that, so you only have to cover about 25 yards of width. Everybody compresses. There's not as many lanes. It's much easier to defend against the kickoff return.
We remind you at halftime that Deion Sanders, great All-American, will be joining us up here in the booth. That ought to be a lot of fun. Here's Terrence Jones. Off the option. Read it well. Again on the play, close to 17. And a first down. Keith Carter, the linebacker, came over in pursuit, but you can't run the option any better than that, Keith Jones, than did Terrence Jones for Tulane.
No, you cannot. And it's so unusual, Paul, to see somebody with that talent, because we have a flag on the play.
Holding offense.
So unusual to see somebody that can be a pure drop-back passer, 5- and 7-step drop-back passer, and still run the option.
First penalty of the game against Tulane. It's a costly one, a swing of some 27 yards. So instead of having the ball first down at your 37, it's pushed back inside the Tulane 15. Watch the right side of your screen here, Keith.
Get another look. When you get into daylight, you got people trying to catch people. Corian Freeman there tied up with McIntosh, I believe it is. And there's the penalty. Correction, I believe that was number 81 for Tulane. Bill Dillon.
On 1st and 15 to the sidelines, and McIntyre. He slips the tackle, and then Tracy Sanders managed to grapple him back. He's a slippery rascal, as Jerome McIntosh, and that is his 4th reception of the night.
Well, prior to last year, when you talked about the passing attack of Tulane, you talked about Mark Zeno, the NCAA career yardage leader upon graduation. Here's McIntosh stepping right in and picking right back up where Mark Zeno left off.
We'll talk about Zeno in a moment, the all-time leading receivers he mentioned in the history of college football. On the delay, Melvin Adams up to the 30. These two programs in Florida State and Tulane producing the top 2 receivers in the history of college football. Ron Sellers, of course, for the Seminoles, and Zeno, who you mentioned, for Tulane.
You know, coming into that contest last year, Paul, Zeno was only 150-so yards away from Sellers' record. The defense for Florida State by the coaching staff was made aware of that fact. Zeno was held for about 50 yards, had to break that record in another game.
On 3rd and short. Inside handoff, and I don't know if Melvin Adams earned the first. It depends on the spot. He had to cross the 30 to pick up the first down. It comes with 4 minutes and 40 seconds remaining as the clock is stopped and Florida State leading 24-7.
There you see the mark. Needs to get about half to 2/3 of a football past the 30. The ball is resting squarely on the 30. The stripe is right down the middle of the ball, if you will. Officials calling for a measurement.
Florida State with the big lead. It's a happy day already in the Bowden household. I understand that Terry Bowden, the head coach at Samford, picked up the victory today. Coach Bowden's son, coaching up in Birmingham at Old Howard College. 18-17, the final there as Samford scored in the final 48 seconds of the game. Here's the score. Come from behind win. Congratulations to the Bowden household and head coach Terry. He did not earn the first. And it's Leroy Butler to receive the kick. You pronounce that noisy. It tumbles end over end. And it hits off the Seminole. And the Green Wave has it at the 41-yard line. Diedrich Dodge. It bonked him on the head.
We talked about it going in. We've talked about it here in the first half already. Coach Davis said that Tulane had to win the special teams war in order to stay with Florida State. You won't normally see 2 people back. You've got Leroy Butler back there for Deion Sanders. Diedrich Dodge back there to protect. Hits him right on top of the head. If Deion Sanders is in there, you've got 10 people on the line. You don't have this problem.
Stant recovered it for Tulane. That's a break. Trailing 24-7, 4:25 remaining. And here is Jones, 5 of 9 for 91 yards thus far. And eluding pressure again. And scrambling for 4. He's so quick on his feet. Shelton Thompson with the stop for Florida State. The outside linebacker.
Excuse me, Paul. Florida State doing a good job of protection in the secondary, but the offensive line is doing a good job of pushing people out where Jones can step around or step up when he goes to scramble.
That's his 8th carry of the game. He has a net of 2 yards, for he's been sacked 3 times. 2nd and 4 after the game of 6. A football at the Seminole 35 and off the counter. Galloping is Hunter, and Hunter is into the end zone. They caught him, Chief.
That they did. Florida State in a pressure situation that time. Linebackers stepping up. And when you do that, if you have someone with the talent of a Rodney Hunter in terms of experience, 3-year Letterman senior, played a lot, you bust by that line of scrimmage, you're in the daylight. Good blocking at the point of attack. Linebacker steps up, gets across. Leroy Butler misses the tackle. Bye-bye.
2 plays after the mishandling of the punt. It is Hunter with his first touchdown of the year. The extra point good by Wiggins. And John Rapol, the left guard, with a tremendous block for Tulane to spring Rodney Hunter, the Florida native. 24-14, a 10-point spread with 3:37 remaining in the first half.
You know, Paul, people forget that when you talk about punts, punt returns, kickoff returns, and extra points, you're talking about 1/3 to 2/5 of a football game. And I think right now, obviously, Tulane has won that portion of the football game and not doing too badly, with the exception of the Florida State return for the touchdown on the interception, not doing too badly matching up offense, defense, defense. That man right there is a big reason why.
It should be a great week of high school football. Coming up Monday night, Robert E. Lee and Raines High School. That'll be a nice one. Stay tuned to the Sunshine Network throughout the year for the best in Florida high school football. Todd Wiggins with the extra point. The junior puts that right foot into it. And this is Carter. Or rather Ross. And it is Ross to the 25. And up to the 26, a gain of 19 and a penalty marker down.
Florida State that time going with a right return as opposed to up the middle. Someone probably a little too aggressive, either down low or in the back. Or maybe hanging on to folks.
Referee Terry Monk.
Holding on the return team. Down.
2 specialty teams miscue. And with 3.5 minutes remaining, if you're Tulane, down by 10, you're thinking, get the ball back.
Watch the wedge moving to the right. Ross going to move up. Flag's going to come from back right. Maybe Carruthers there, number 45. Here it comes. 10 yards back the other way.
From the 15, Dane Williams out of the middle for 2. Tulane has 3 timeouts remaining. The Seminoles with 2 here in the first half. The clock shows 3:15 and counting. 2nd and 8 approaching.
Well, certainly not a runaway, and in fact, you saw right there on the pile a little bit of frustration. We had a little mix-up on the kickoff return, or excuse me, on the extra point attempt.
Come on, baby. Hit somebody.
2nd and 8. Play action. Been in trouble. Incomplete. And Carter, in reaching for the football, appeared to hurt himself. The ball was behind him. He reached back for it. And Dexter is in obvious pain.
Again, I think we're going to see where the traction of the shoes, special shoes that are worn on this carpet, special shoes that have a lot of little bitty knobby or short spikes on it, is going to be where, you know, the traction's so great that when Carter tries to turn back inside, normally your feet will slide with you. Normally you won't get all that traction on that severe cut. Notice the upper right part of your screen. See him go up into the middle. He's going to break outside. Ferguson's going to throw the ball behind him. Watch him plant. And see how that toe stays right there. See how that toe doesn't give. That's an AstroTurf injury right there.
Jay Rink, the sophomore nose guard, was pressuring Chip Ferguson. As Dexter will leave the game. He's carried the ball 6 times for 58 yards tonight. And has 1 reception. Good for 5.
That's Coach, actually Dr. Henderson, their assisting him off, the orthopedic surgeon for Florida State.
3rd and 8 for Florida State. And it's Sammy Smith off the fake. Sammy Smith with the first down. Up to the 30 and the 32-yard line. The second time that the Seminoles have run that play, both times for big yardage. A pickup there of 27.
Certainly, Lewis, you've got a threat. That time the fake of the reverse. The second time, as you said, Paul, in the contest, cut back inside. A lot of room and a lot of daylight for Sammy Smith on that 3rd and long play.
Mitchell Price with the ankle-high tackle. Sammy Smith, a dozen carries, 140 yards, and 2 first-half touchdowns. At the 33, with Butts and Smith into the game, and this is Marion. And a flag.
We talked about it. There's been a lot of little bit of after the play activity going on. That time, I think Florida State going to get flagged for it. You see Terry Monk walking over, warning the coaching staff, saying that's the 2nd time. That's the 2nd time. This time it's going to cost you 15.
Dead ball, personal foul against the offense. It'll be 2nd down.
That comes with 2 minutes and 12 seconds remaining in the first half. The clock obviously a factor now, and it represents the 4th penalty of the first half alone against Florida State. FSU's been assessed 47 yards in penalties in the first half of play.
They haven't been little ones, and in fact, in a couple of occasions, they've been very big in terms of yardage and in timing.
24-14, the Seminoles by 2, and even 2 minutes to play on 2nd and 27. The drive Smith. Leroy Brown, the outside linebacker there, as the clock continues to run. A gain of 3. And Tulane will take the timeout. The clock halted with 1:45 remaining. And what a night it's been for double digits.
101 yards coming into the game, 4 games worth, if you will. 130 alone in the first half tonight. You know, it's interesting, Paul. You've got a situation right now where you've got a fired up Tulane team. Coach Greg Davis there, who has the headsets on, just took them off. You've got a situation where momentum has changed. You've got 1 minute and 45 left. You've got 3rd and who knows how long, 25 yards for Florida State on your own 19. You don't convert the first down. Coach Bowden knows that you got to punt the ball away. Tulane will have 2 timeouts left, probably in a great position to get at least 3.
Well, a pair of Sammy Smith touchdowns, along with Tracy Sanders' interception, return of 35 yards in the first quarter for a score, and Richie Andrews with a 33-yard field goal, the 24 for Florida State. For Tulane, Terrence Jones nailing Jerome McIntosh for the touchdown. And Rodney Hunter with the 35-yard gallop, the 14 for the Green Wave. 3rd and 25 for the Seminoles at their 18. And it's Sammy Smith who gets the pole. And Sammy Smith breaking a tackle and a first down. The Seminoles, it appeared, would have relinquished the football, and yet Sammy Smith, with a 27-yard run, darting and dashing, enables Florida State to keep the ball.
Coach Bowden, the coaching staff saying, hey, it's 3rd and 25, let's run the ball and punt it away. But if you give the ball to Sammy Smith, you always have the potential for this to happen. Again, another great cutback inside, a couple of missed tackles, 27-yard pickup, 1st and 10, Florida State.
Lonnie Martz flying high to give him the shot at the end, the outside linebacker. What a night for Sammy Smith. There's Ferguson. Now they're thinking score, and it's Bruce Lassane at the 41. How quickly things can change with a minute remaining in the first half. Lindsey Burton, the strong safety on the stand. The 4th completion of the night by Ferguson. He's thrown for 49 yards, and for Lassane, that's his very first catch of this football game.
Clock running, Florida State with 2 timeouts remaining into the hurry-up offense.
That's his second catch, rather, for Lassane. And here's Ferguson. He's thinking 6. And it's incomplete. A flag goes down. Ronald Lewis, the intended receiver. Thurston Harrison defending for Tulane.
Florida State airing it out. Ronnie Lewis on a simple up pattern, similar to some that we've seen for years and years under Coach Bowden's offense.
Pass interference, defense, first down.
In pro ball, they've restricted or actually loosened up pass interference. This time Harrison gets right in his face. See, the reason that's called is he's not looking at the ball. He's looking at Ronnie Lewis's eyes. If he gets his head back, then that's not interference.
And the penalty is stepped off 15 yards. Only the second penalty of the game committed by or assessed to Tulane. They've been penalized 25 yards. 39 seconds remaining. Florida State now 1st and 10 at the 26. Here's Ferguson. And it's nearly intercepted. He was looking for Sammy Smith out of the backfield. Pat Stant had him man for man, and Stant dropped it. Hit him right between the 5 and the 6.
Harvey was the one that made that play go, Paul. Florida State wanted to get isolation. Sammy Smith on a linebacker. Ferguson doesn't have time. Harvey's in his face. Got to throw the ball early. Otherwise, you sit back there and wait, and you loft it over his head.
That's the second potential interception dropped by the Green Wave tonight. Sophomore linebacker. No one feels worse than he does. 2nd and 10 at the 26. Already in Richie Andrews' field goal range. Ferguson deep. He down. Terry Anthony. Doug Adams beat. And it's a 30-14 football game. The 5th completion of the night. And the first touchdown strike by senior Chip Ferguson.
Corner route run by Florida State all the time. Move inside towards the goalpost. Bank out to the flag. Wide open. Excellent delivery by Ferguson that time. Not babying it, but going ahead and putting it in because the guy was open.
Terry Anthony's second touchdown grab of the year for the junior from Daytona Beach. And here's Richie Andrews to make it a 17-point game. And he does. With that completion, Chip Ferguson has sailed past the 3,000-yard plateau. 8th all-time now at Florida State. Only 390 yards behind Danny McManus.
Double coverage by Tulane. You've got a corner and a safety. Look at it here. Upman's going to take away the inside. Watch him move inside on mirror. He moves inside, does Anthony. The safety's got to get over. That's the safety's play. Not executed. Florida State completes. 6 points.
Right in front of the pylon for Terry Anthony. A 26-yard scoring pass. And for Chipper, that was his 6th of the year. Boy, he's been going great guns lately. 240 yards against Southern Miss through the air, 241 against Clemson, 215 a week ago against Michigan State, and now with better than 3,000 yards in his 4-year career.
He's moving up in some lofty company. When you talk about Florida State, you talk about quarterbacks, you got a lot of names.
A 21-point third quarter for Florida State as Andrews kicks again to Pierce in the corner. 15. Changes hand. A across the 30 to the 34. A return of 30 yards. Pierce ranks 3rd in the nation in all-purpose running, both on offense, carrying the football, and in returning kickoff.
Very similar to a young man that was at Florida State in the mid-70s by the name of Larry Key. Punt returns, running the football, and catching the ball out of the backfield.
Keith Ross on the tackle off the special teams there. 31-14 your score. You see the time remaining. Jones is looking to throw. It's complete. Rodney Hunter out of the backfield with 11 seconds remaining in the first half. That's a first down up to the 47-yard line. And they'll move the stakes forward.
Rodney Hunter, 4-year player, does something that was very hard to teach. He has that instinct, that ability, whether he's running the ball to find the seam or whether he's running around with Terrence Jones being flushed out of the pocket, to find an open area and present himself to the quarterback, make himself known and seen to the quarterback so that Jones can get the ball to him.
Coach Bobby Bowden was saying entering this game that the strategic plans of Florida State's opponents have been laid on the table. That Florida State opponents are going to make Chip Ferguson beat you. And Chip has risen to the occasion, and more than that since the setback on opening night to Miami.
Someone asked, one of the sports writers asked Coach Bowden if Chip Ferguson was getting his confidence back. Coach Bowden answered he never lost it. Even when he lost his starting job to Danny McManus, he still thought he was the best. And that calm composure and that confidence, I think, is the biggest asset that Chip Ferguson brings to Florida State.
Well, Terrence Jones can play with confidence and with skill. He's at midfield as he's taken down with 3 seconds remaining. And the clock stopped with 2 seconds to go in the first half. Kelvin Smith, the sophomore linebacker, on the stunt.
82 yards.
It was a 10-0 game at the end of the first quarter. And these 3 second-quarter TDs. Florida State getting set for a lively halftime, both inside and outside the locker room. We'll have the Florida State marching band to entertain us, and then Mr. PT himself, number 2, is coming upstairs to chat with you, Keith.
I'll tell you, Dion brings to our booth the excitement that he brings to the field. Certainly it'll perk you and I up.
Bigger than Elvis.
Coach Bowden there conferring with Billy Sexton. Billy Sexton, the offensive backfield coach for Florida State, has got to be happy. That man right there, Greg Davis, with the exception of special teams, maybe a little disappointed in the way his defense has played. Offense has played well. Special teams has played great.
The one that's really killed him, the play that had to hurt, was 3rd down and 18 yards to go, and Florida State goes off tackle to Sammy Smith, set to surrender the ball to Tulane, and Sammy pops it for a big gainer, earns the first, and 4 plays later, the Seminoles are in the end zone. Final play of the first half, Terrence Jones going for broke. And it's intercepted at the 1 as the gun sounds, and we are at halftime. Diedrich Dodge officially will get credit for the interception as we've played 2 full quarters. Florida State with a Tracy Sanders interception return for a score to open it up. And here is Diedrich in the first half of play. Our halftime show is next as the Seminoles enjoyed the 17-point cushion at intermission. On second down, the blitz, and Carter is hit behind the line of scrimmage and knocked down. Perry Leslie, the Tulane's Darrell Shearer. 31-14 the score. An eventful second quarter, Keith Jones. 21 points for the Seminoles following 10 in the first period to explode for the 17-point lead.
You know, really, Paul, it's very important for Florida State to get off to a good start here. They deferred. They won the toss, deferred for the kickoff in the second half. They've got the ball. They're where they want to be, 31-14. They need to take this ball, slow, methodical drive, eat up some time.
252 yards on the ground alone in the first half. And Dane Williams close to a first down. Dane had struggled in the first half, had been limited to only 2 yards rushing in 2 carries, and he's a fellow that a year ago scored not 1, not 2, but 3 separate touchdowns against Tulane.
He's a good, dependable blocker. He's not really known for his ball carrying, except, Paul, when you're inside the 5.
Yeah.
Led the team in scoring last year with the rush.
Yeah, he had 13 yards rushing and those 3 TDs last year against Tulane. Just got them all close to the goal line. He got 9 there, setting up 2nd and short. Right away by Richard Harvey, that fine linebacker.
That's what you call good, hard-nosed play. That time Harvey had a stunt on, lined up a little bit wide. He countered or moved inside, stepped right into the hole, and he and Dane Williams were introduced, both of them about the same size.
Harvey said coming into this game that regardless of what happened on the scoreboard, he was going to play every snap with courage, pride, and intensity. He showed it there. It was a loss of 1 on the carry by Williams. 3rd and 2. Toss sweep. Sammy Smith. Perry Leslie stops it in the backfield. 4th down approaching, and on to punt for the first time in this half, and the first time tonight, is Tim Corlew. Corlew averaging 36 yards a kick, the senior from Inverness, Florida. His best effort of the year of 45 yards. Mitchell Price in single set inside his 35, 10 men up, going for the block. And this is a towering punt by Corlew. Price makes the catch and gains 3, and a marker goes down. They may have interfered with Price's ability to make the catch. Came inside the 2-yard area reserved for the receiver.
Doesn't matter whether he signals for a fair catch or not. You've got to give him 2 yards to catch the ball. Price, the free safety, used to seeing the ball come down. Great courage, defensive back, much like Deion Sanders, our guest at halftime. You've got to give him the room.
Fair catch interference against the kicking team. 5-yard penalty. First down.
Not to dispute the call by Mr. Buck. Not fair catch interference. Just interference.
Correct. The ball was fielded right there on the stripe. You got to back up 2 hash marks or 2 lines right there. That's where you've got to stop. In too close.
The 5th penalty of the night assessed to the Seminoles. 1st and 10 from the 40 for Terrence Jones, trailing 31-14. The hit and going deep. And it's caught at the 25-yard line by Maurice Nelson. His 2nd fine grab of the game. Leroy Butler was right there. It's a gain of 35.
You'll remember in the first half they ran the same play and Jones overthrew. This time he's right on target. Butler, the safety, late getting over. Nice reception, nice catch, as you say, the 2nd big catch for Nelson.
Jones, his 7th completion. He's hurled for 140 yards and 1 touchdown tonight. And down to the 22-yard line is Melvin Adams, the fullback, the senior. Adams in the first half gained 25 yards on a half-dozen carries. He's from Jennings, Louisiana. There are quality athletes abundant on first-year head coach Greg Davis's ball club. This is a program that's going to get better.
Very much so. That young man right there won't be with him for years to come, but he's doing a good job here in his senior campaign.
2nd and 8. Inside again. And Odell Higgins puts the wrap on Adams this time. Ankle high. Here's Odell. He is a junior, yet it seems that he's been around for a long time. Hobbled by that ankle injury. He's going to have to leave the game. It's the left ankle, as you can see. And it's heavily taped, too.
A lot of the Florida State interior people wear the high-top Nike shoes, the turf shoes, and then they'll tape it. You'll see that left ankle right there taped. It's got slits on it to hold it steady.
To throw on 3rd down. flag down. Butler to the 30. Butler at midfield. Butler, no one will catch him. This will be a 90-yard return. Lessig comes back. 92 yards officially.
Terrence Jones, Paul, is standing at the 10-yard line, the opposite 10 of where you're looking at now, waving everybody back. 2 flags laying on the ground.
Jerome McIntosh was the intended receiver, but the field looks almost littered with handkerchiefs.
Pass interference, defense, first down.
The 6th penalty of the game erases a 92-yard interception return for a score.
Well, normally penalties only cost you yardage when you're a defensive club. In this case, the penalty's going to cost Florida State 6 points with the extra point 7. But it was interesting. Jones, instead of running after Leroy Butler, ran to where the flags were and stood there waiting for everybody to come back.
The ball will be placed inside the 10. First and goal, Tulane.
Florida State defenders converging. You're going to get a good look at it, upper left right there. Going to come in just a little too early and get flagged. No hesitation by the back judge back there. You can see him reaching for it. Butler comes back across and is off to the races.
Torian Freeman, the defender that committed the infraction. Well, just inside the 10. Run pass option. Into the end zone again. For a touchdown. It's McIntosh. A second time. That's a combination that works for the Green Wave. Tracy Sanders. They lobbed it over his head, the senior cornerback. The first score of the second half belongs to Tulane.
Great execution of a hard pass to throw. Roll out right. McIntosh going to work all the way back to the left. Sanders cuts underneath him. The ball thrown with just the right trajectory to get over the outstretched hands and into the arms of McIntosh.
McIntosh will hold it now for the kicker Wiggins, who puts it through. It's a 10-point game again, and the Green Wave has not quit. They're swelling within 10 at 31 to 21 with 10:53 remaining in the third quarter.
Listen close. If you're serious about bass fishing, how much can you improve your bass fishing results with these full-time Bassmasters? I'm Ray Scott, and I'm telling you that even after a lifetime of bass fishing, I still ask my buddies, the pros, what's new? And Bass Angler Sportsman Society is for the serious bass fisherman that wants to know what's new, what's hot, and how can I catch more and bigger bass. With your membership to Bass, you receive 10 big issues of Bassmaster magazine packed with how-to articles, exciting photography, and how much would you pay to fish alongside bassing greats like Denny Breyer, Roland Martin, and a host of others? Well, now you can. Call us toll-free and learn from the pros by becoming a BASS member. Here's how.
In addition to 10 issues of Bassmaster magazine and full membership credentials, you'll get a free tackle pack including auger tail worms, true turn hooks, stren line, spinnerbait, and the free book Jackpot Bassin'. To join, call 1-800-453-9700. Send no money. We'll gladly bill you.
Catch the classic golf matches of yesterday on Shell's Wonderful World of Golf. Mondays on Sunshine Network.
A short kickoff that bounds at the 16. It's picked up and knocked down is Chris Parker into the game. And you sense that Tulane, playing at home against the 6th-rated team in the nation in Florida State, has regained its confidence.
Old Mo is wearing green, Paul. He's moved over to the Green Wave side of the field, and Momentum is standing right there just as far down that little stripe that they'll let players move, and he's right on the back of every one of those 11 Green Wave players that are out there at any given time.
In its first possession of the second half, Florida State was forced to punt. The Green Wave took less than 2 minutes to go 60 yards in 4 plays, penalty aided, of course. 31-21 your score here in the third quarter. Ferguson to a guy having a great game. And a super second half, obviously, as he earns the first. Leroy Brown, the outside linebacker, with the stop on Sammy Smith.
Again, and how many times do we have to repeat it? You give him the ball deep, and you let him pick a spot. Cuts back inside, turns on the speed. If he doesn't get caught right there, very likely that unless Price has the angle, you can't catch him.
166 yards rushing on 15 carries and 2 scores thus far for Sammy Smith. First and 10 at the 26. Smith bouncing outside with the boundary. Another first down. Richard Sauter, the left tackle, on the stop for Tulane. And as he did in the second quarter, Keith, it is Sammy that's sparking some life into Florida State when it appears that the Seminoles are becoming lethargic.
Somewhat ignored, overlooked, underutilized the first 4 games. Obviously, Florida State's looking to him right now to give that spark. Same or similar play to the one before, but this time he bounces it outside. Now, notice the difference between a Sammy Smith in Game 5 and a Sammy Smith 1 through 4. Doesn't go out of bounds, trying to cut it back inside, looking for more yards.
Price was shaken up on the play for Tulane, a fine junior free safety. And that's a remarkable night for Smith, especially in light of the fact that he had rushed for only 111 yards entering this game through 4 contests and had not scored a touchdown. 31-21, Florida State. Play action to Smith. Ferguson. It's a catch at the 41-yard line. Lawrence Dawson hauled it in. It appeared the official took a moment to make up his mind.
Ferguson rolling out on that naked bootleg play. We saw it a couple of times in the first half. This time Tulane bites inside. Ferguson's able to get outside. Then he's going to stop, plant, throw the ball. Watch Dawsey plant the feet, eye the ball, bring it in. First down, Florida State.
Dawson's first catch of the game. It goes for 15 yards. First down, Florida State. Marion Butt, the fullback, the junior. You heard the crack of the helmets at the 39. That was Vincent Balmore, the inside linebacker, 6 feet tall. 235 from Marrero, Louisiana, that went headgear to headgear.
We've got a flag on the play, Paul.
Face man.
As will happen on
5-yard penalty. Replay first down.
Excuse me, Mr. Monk. As will happen a lot of times when you get into a pileup, when defensive players and offensive players are stopped and they're just kind of pushing against each other, it's very likely that one of those defensive players is going to reach up and grab something to try to bring it down. With Marion Butts at 250 pounds plus, you grab anything you can find.
9:42 showing. Ferguson, 60% efficiency. Inside handoff. Marion Butts, and the Sylvester, Georgia native is now inside the 35 to the 34-yard line.
We're down there in that area we talked about in the first half. And Tulane's walking those linebackers up. They're moving that strong safety up. They're trying to protect that real estate as it gets closer and closer to their goal line. Harvey right there, an inside linebacker, easing up, getting closer, trying to fill those lanes and keep the cutbacks and those little lanes from appearing where Butts and Smith can get through.
Tanks the center, Yeomans Haynes the guards, Ionata Shobrock the tackle. Complete. A nice catch on his knees, Dawsey in front of Corey Dowden. It wasn't pretty, but it's a first down on a pickup of 10. But wait. This one will go against Florida State. It's got a penalty marred football game.
Tripping. Offense. Replay second down.
Oh, we've had tripping.
Watch the interior lineman. Excuse me, very little called play. Watch the interior line. Somebody's going to stick a foot out. Tank stuck a foot out. The guard, I believe it was, our center, stuck a foot out as one of the defensive linemen was going by.
Tanks from Decatur, Georgia. His first start. He's a project. They've moved Kuipers back to guard, and who had played center through 4 games, Keith, and trying to get Michael to grow up a little bit, the junior 254-pounder. territory. We're in the third quarter. Here is Sammy with the Herbert. To the 45. Vincent Mulmore, the linebacker, with another tackle.
All right, here you go with an interesting call. You got 3rd and about 15. Your offense has sputtered just a little bit in the first drive. Tulane drives the ball and scores. You're now on the opponent's 45. Desperately needing a first down. Interesting call here, 3rd and 14.
They've given it to Sammy Smith in this situation before. He's hot thus far. See if they throw it to him here. Down the middle. Incomplete. Terry Anthony, the intended receiver. Mitchell Price with excellent defense. The free safety.
Price did exactly what you expect your free safety to do. Strong safety's walked up is almost like a linebacker. Price is in center field. He's mirroring the quarterback, watching his eyes, and that time he had a great break on the ball, was there to break up the intended pass.
Not a bad place to fake a punt. Tulane did it in this spot. It led to the first score of the night for the Greenies. Tim Corlew will punt for Florida State. And deep to field it is Mitchell Price. This one is not a fake. Price calling for the fair catch. Lets it hit. Oh, what a break. And they'll down it at the 5. A punt of 40 yards without a return. Corian Freeman is there to keep it from rolling into the end zone. Tulane has twice stopped Florida State in this half. They trailed by 17 in intermission, have come back to score again. Jones to McIntosh. 31-21 our score, advantage Florida State with 7.5 minutes remaining. Tulane can go 94 yards. It's a game once again.
That it is. That time Corlew doing a good job of getting the ball up in the air. Price moves up to make the fair catch. Did not have enough room or misjudged it. Let it hit, and it trickles on down to the 5.
With 149 yards passing thus far, Jones under center to throw out of his own end zone. And it's incomplete. He overshot his intended receiver, the tight end and sophomore, Jeff Kenyo. And there's a penalty marker down.
Tulane not utilizing the tight end a lot coming into the first the game. Only 4 receptions by the tight end.
Tulane had a problem. It lost its fine junior tight end and Gorman. They're trying to get a redshirt year for him, but here's Kenyo in his first start. Keith, you remember trying to start as a sophomore, your first time out there.
I'll tell you, it's a real eerie feeling. I had to start at the University of Syracuse on a away game. Fortunately, here at home, it's a little bit easier. But nevertheless, you know, the butterflies are working and everything's happening.
Florida State will take the play, obviously, forcing second down and 10 yards to go. Up the gut, 1 tackle, 2 tackles, up to the 10. Adams nearly lost the football. Nearly popped out on him. Phil Carollo, the outside linebacker, the senior on the stop for Florida State. You recall at the start of the game, Tulane had all sorts of problems holding on to it.
Well, you can't use the excuse of rain. We're indoors. I think what you can use as an excuse is some real hard hitting. As we saw at the latter part of the second quarter, these two teams are getting after each other, and contact is real present down there on that field.
3rd and 6. He's got time. Mitchell Pierce circles out of the backfield. The quarterback, Jones, hangs tough in the pocket. It's first down, Greenway.
Jones does a great job of waiting for Pierce to come open. Then he's going to flick the ball. Arm's going to be up high to get over to Rush. He's going to flick the ball to Pierce, who's worked just inside the dropping Moss there.
31-21. Florida State by 10. Midway through the third quarter. The Seminoles have led throughout. Tulane refuses to quit. Again, intercepted. Picked off by the linebacker, Calvin Smith. The intended receiver on the play, I believe it was the tight end, and Kenyo, And Smith, the sophomore, has his first career interception.
This is one that Terrence Smith, excuse me, Paul, this is one that Terrence Jones would like to have back. Smith's going to drop, turn back inside. He doesn't quite get the ball. Jones doesn't quite get the ball high enough. Smith right there to pick it up.
Appeared to be James Toney, rather, the flanker, the intended receiver. The second interception, the third, rather, of the night, committed by the quarterback Jones, and Florida State in excellent position. This is Keith Ross. Ross to the 21-yard line. The defense coming up with the big play and giving the offense tremendous field position. Pat Stant, an inside linebacker, on in place of Richard Harvey, made the tackle for Tulane.
The thing you need to look for here, Paul, is the fact that the Tulane defense, we've got 5:52, a rolling clock, has been on the field most of this quarter. Offense scored quickly. They may be tiring just slightly.
Ross, the tailback. Dane Williams, the fullback. That's Lewis to the top of the screen. And it's Williams. And Dane is inside the 15. First down, Seminoles. Down in the left corner on the tackle.
First down. Watch the linebackers move up. Watch the interior 7 move up. This time Dane Williams is going to get hit and is able to break outside. Harvey, I believe it is, or Stant, that is, misreads, goes too far outside. Williams able to bring it back inside, flare outside, pick up good yardage.
A gain on the play of 7. That's Big Scott Shobrat, the tackle, 6'8", 288. Anthony to the top of the screen. On the big bounce, Dane Williams closes it a second time, but out of bounds. Dowden's a hitter, isn't he, the corner?
I think Dane's going to go back to the huddle, Paul, and he's going to look at those hands. He's going to beat them together a little bit and say, come on, guys, let's work. You're going to see what it looks like a fairly good exchange, and it drops the ball, bounces right back up, continues outside, corner comes up, there it goes again.
He's over to talk to Billy Sexton. Now on to replace him, Marion Butts, the fullback. 2nd and 5 at the 9. This is Butts, and Butts driving close to a first down. Marion Butts pounding his way off the left side. The line controlling that line of scrimmage right now.
Continuity of the offensive line, getting after people. A little seal, hold block right there, a little pull, actually, a little trap. Butts right up behind it, still churning, still growing. Come on, guys, let's go.
62 is Kuipers. 69 the tackle, Joey Ionata. He didn't have it on the initial contact by Leroy Brown, but fell forward. Back there, too, was the right tackle, sophomore Andy Treadway for Tulane.
You know, Paul, if you were going to do a job description for a fullback, one of the top things you'd have on that job description is don't get tackled by the first man. You've got to break the first tackle. That time, Marion Butts nails it up in there, nothing moving, slides off to the left, very possibly for the first down on second effort. A little short.
Not quite.
Little short.
3rd and inches. And Greg Davis thinking what might have been. He's surrendered the big play and the most inopportune time. It's 4th down now rather than 3rd. And the wham set. And Dane Williams returns at the fullback position. That's O'Malley, the tight end. Williams has the first down. Down to the 2. That's tough to stop. Price, the free safety on the tackle.
If you don't think Tulane's staff hasn't done a good job of coaching, watch Harvey, the interior linebacker, move right up where 34 wham goes. Here he comes. Gets cut off on a low chop block. Price right in behind him, but he's no match for Williams, able to convert the first down.
1st and goal. Florida State leading 31-21. 3:45 to go in the 3rd quarter. Who moved first? Apparently, the Seminoles did.
Even though we don't have a great crowd here, Paul, I haven't heard the estimate. Tulane's been averaging about 25,000 in the 75,000-seat Superdome.
Dead ball, movement on the offensive line, still first down.
There's still a lot of noise down on that end, and oftentimes when you get in one of these dome stadiums, 25 or 30,000 people can make just about as much noise as 75,000. Very difficult to hear.
The 8th penalty of the game. Bobby Madden wants 7. Doesn't want to settle for a field goal here. First and goal at the 7. Sammy Smith. Still on his feet. And back to the 2. He had 3 separate shots that he took and refused to go down.
In the first 4 games, if he would have gotten similar shots because of the nagging injuries and bruises and everything, he would have gone down. Now a healthy Smith is able to plant and turn and jump and kind of stretch away and cut back inside and stay away from people and then explode when he sees that lane.
Vincent Mulmore, the linebacker, prevented the touchdown. 2nd and goal from the 2. 2 tight end and a single wide out. Dane Williams. Loose ball. The green white thinks it has it. It does. The second lost fumble of the game by Florida State. Dowden fell on it, the cornerback. That play never developed well. You had the stutter by Dane Williams in the backfield. You mentioned earlier he had trouble with the football. Here he gives it up, and I don't think he took a lick. Rather, it was his grasping the ball.
Well, a lot of the time, Paul, that will be a part of the fact that you can't hear the count. You don't know when the ball's going to be hiked, and you get offset just a little bit too early to start with. There's the ball clearly on the ground very early, trickling outside. Sammy Smith dives in for it, can't come up with it. Price, I believe, is there to recover it for the Green Wave.
Vincent Mulmore caused the fumble. Tulane trying to get out of its own end zone. And it's Pierce. Mulmore has made a bunch of tackles tonight for Tulane. And there, Tulane's still in this game, despite having turned the ball over nearly a half dozen times.
A lot of their turnovers, Paul, have not been at critical situations. Florida State's down here is a critical situation.
For Florida State, that's Gene Houp that is helped off the field. Remaining in the 3rd quarter. 31-21 Seminoles. To throw. He was open. Was Melvin Ferdinand. Split in. But Jones misfired.
I tell you, you've got to admire the offense mindset of this Tulane ball club. Last series, Jones dropped back to his end zone to throw. They were able to move it out, finally surrendered the interception. Now Jones rolling out in his end zone, backed up, down by 10, but still very aggressive on offense. You got to like that kind of play.
3rd and 9, a passing situation here, and Jones is 9 of 17 officially for 156 yards. How does Florida State play it? That's intercepted. Picked up by Dedrick Dodge. Dodge to the 7-yard line. A 22-yard return on the interception. The 4th given up by Jones. Hunter on the tackle.
We're going to get a look exactly the way Dedrick Dodge would look at it. Turn, sprint inside, mirror the quarterback, backpedal, back outside. That's where he's going. Go for the ball, leave the receiver alone. Interception. That's the way. Now, become an offensive player. You're on your 28. Let's turn it upside. Let's hold up and wait for some blocks. Here they come. Here they come. Back inside.
Personal foul.
Excellent return.
Dead ball. Personal foul against White. Order of occurrence is unknown. We'll play first down.
That's the 12th interception this year by Jones. And the penalty that you saw was committed by guard Kent Lattimore in a moment of frustration. 97 seconds remaining in the third quarter. 31-21, Florida State over Tulane. And Tulane has called timeout. We'll return to the Superdome in New Orleans. It's first and goal, Seminoles, late in the third period.
Be seated. The enemy has penetrated our lines.
Last week, these soldiers were on their civilian jobs. Now they're working to protect our country. They're members of the National Guard and Reserve, and they make up a full third of our nation's defense. But they need time to train. If you're an employer, give them that time. This was an exercise to help keep our forces trained and ready. Support the National Guard and Reserve. Protect their future while they protect yours.
The Orlando Magic is holding tryouts for its elite professional dance team, the Magic Girls. During the next 2 weeks, tryouts will be held at 4 locations. Applicants must be 18 years or older, high school graduates, and may not be affiliated with any other professional athletic organization. Applications can be picked up at area Burger King restaurants, tryout locations, and Orlando Magic offices. Preliminary and final tryouts open to the media and the public. For further information, call the Magic at 407-422-7433.
There's one dangerous stunt you couldn't pay me to do. Smoke. Let's do it again.
The American Heart Association. We're fighting for your life.
Florida State with the football. Leading 31-21. First and goal. Off the turnover. Sammy Smith. Pounding to the 1. Sammy Smith now, Keith, by our count, with 200 yards rushing tonight on 19 carries. The tackle by Price. And according to the Florida State record book, there have only been 8 other games in which a Seminole has rushed for as many as 200 yards.
And I tell you, we're very still, very much have a great deal of ball left to play. 1:05 left here in the third quarter. More important than that, though, Paul, is Florida State's ability to put this one in the end zone.
It's Butts along with Smith behind Ferguson. Sammy for a third time is just short. Didn't miss it by much. Fine tackle by Mitchell Price, the free safety.
Up to now, if you had to pick a most valuable player on defense, it'd have to be Price. You don't bring down a 220-pound back from the free safety position on the 2-yard line very often. I don't care who you are.
And Price is playing with banged-up ribs. He's a good-looking guy, 5'10", 190 from San Antonio, Texas. He's a hitter.
That he is. He's got a good nose for the ball, too. You'll notice that wherever the ball is, whether it's inside or outside, Price is going to be there from that free safety position.
25 seconds and counting remaining in this, the third quarter, and with 15 seconds on the play clock, and Florida State not having a play that Chip Ferguson was comfortable with, Chip has called timeout. 18 seconds officially remaining in the third quarter. To talk to the offensive brain trust, Brad and Billy, Bobby.
Brad,
3 B's.
Brad, Billy, and Bobby. You know, it's kind of tough to figure out what you're going to do down there sometimes.
The Sunshine Network loaded with coaches shows, your connection for the best in college football entertainment. Nobody is livelier or funnier than is Robert Bowden, from the Atlantic Coast Conference to the Southeastern Conference and up north to Big Ten, including Southern Independence. Stay tuned to the Sunshine Network throughout the football season for the show of your favorite head coach. What do you think he's telling?
Well, he's telling Chip about 3 things. Number 1, the play. Number 2, to remind the backs to wrap the ball up. And number 3, to be sure probably that he goes on a quick count to make sure that the noise down in that enclosed end, of course both ends are enclosed in the Superdome, doesn't disrupt the cadence. The play is probably secondary to Chip Ferguson because it's probably going to be a handoff, something easy to execute.
3 tight ends. The closest to you is Dave Roberts. On third and goal. Loose ball. Tulane has it. Unbelievable. Twice that's happened. And it's a problem that surfaced first a week ago against Michigan State.
That it did, and you know, we talked about it. We talked about it, that that's the thing that the coaches would be reminding them of. Florida State looks like it's gotten a break here by being able to come up with the ball, but nevertheless, that does not take away from the fact that when you're down there close, you've got to put the ball in the end zone. Florida State, if successful, are going to have to, you know, settle for 3 points. End zone look, all you got to do is hand the ball off, but now that we get the replay, number 49 for Tulane, Perry Leslie it is, right in there mixed, making it happen.
Well, that's the final play of the third quarter. Tulane still showing signs of life. The fourth period ahead. When we return, Florida State and Andrews will be attempting the three-pointer.
It's revolutionizing baseball. Bobby Valentine finds it terrific for kids, coaches, and parents. I can't believe it hasn't been available before. It's invaluable. It's so thorough, the Sporting News calls it a must for beginning players. Baseball great Ted Williams says it's long overdue. Now, a learning video, official Little League Baseball rules. The first and only official rules video can be yours by calling our 800 number. Ever try to play a game when you didn't know the rules? If you've ever had any questions about the rules of baseball, the New York Post sums it up. This video is the answer. With a learning video, official Little League Baseball rules, balks, infield fly, force slide, interference, all the most important rules of baseball are easy to learn. So act now. Give your son or daughter the extra edge, because as District Administrator Gerald Weir says, you owe this one to your kids. It is without doubt the best baseball reference material ever available. Call our 800 number now. Get your copy today for only $39.95 plus shipping and handling. Order now, and you will also receive this unique collector's pin free. This offer is available only during this TV special. So call our 800 number now and get your copy of A Learning Video, official Little League Baseball rules, and special collector's pin today. It's never too late to learn the rules.
Richie Andrews set to attempt what would be his second field goal of the game out of Johnson's hold. It's good, an 18-yard chip shot. And really, Tulane, look at their kids. They're excited about the fact that they have held Florida State to only 3 points on 2 separate occasions when it was first and goal, Seminoles.
You can't play major college top 10 football without being able to put the ball in the end zone once you're inside the opponent's 10. That man, Bobby Bowden, knows it. 2 or 3 times in the Michigan State contest, twice now in the third quarter alone here at Tulane. The offense was not able, very ineffective in putting the ball in the end zone, and you don't get opportunities down at your opponent's 8, 6, and 4-yard line very often. You have to capitalize on it. I think you have to think, Paul, that Florida State converting this field goal is actually a victory for Tulane. They could be down 14 more points. As it is, it's only 3.
I'm impressed with the way that Greg Davis has imparted courage and fight into a team that was embarrassed by Florida State 73-14 a year ago. The Seminoles coming here ranked 6th in the nation, and Tulane is hung right with them.
Not that many changes either, Paul. Tulane returned 16 starters. So these guys were there in Doak Campbell Stadium last year.
Andrews to kick to Terrence Strickland, number 6. James Toney, number 18. Pinning Strickland against the boundary. Inside his 5. And the saving tackle made by Alfonso Williams on a 13-yard return. And if Alfonso does not get him, there's nobody to stop Strickland.
Williams coming in and starting for Stan Shiver when he was injured earlier in the season. Comes in and plays a lot of nickel defenses. Going to actually stay in for this series. Resting Shiver. A great athlete with the ability to make himself a special teams player as well as a starter, depending on what he's called upon to do.
We're into the fourth quarter. Tulane within 2 touchdowns. Jones gunning. Caught. Yes. By Jerome McIntosh. Who else? Corey and Freeman, the defender. First down. It's a gain of 12 yards.
Tulane hadn't been real complicated in their offense. They've been running outs and outs and ups. That time, Corey and Freeman giving McIntosh plenty of room, protecting against the turning up, and Jones working outside with time to throw the ball. Good execution, though, on the part of Tulane, just outside that first down marker.
Jones again. In front. Floating it deep. Man coverage, and he overshoots McIntosh. The defender on the play, Corian Sr. had applied the pressure, but it was Corian Freeman, the defender, stride for stride with McIntosh.
Almost the same pattern that they ran to down before, but when Jones got pressured out, McIntosh turned it up. Freeman showing a lot of maturity and patience by not jumping on the out and then turning with McIntosh providing good coverage.
Twin receivers to the near side. That's Jerry Urson. Closest to you, down the line option. Big hole. 45-yard line. Linebacker Kirk Carruthers, the freshman no less, had to run down the senior in Terrence Jones after a 20-yard scamper.
The thing about the Tulane offense is that it makes you be disciplined. You're going to see them work down the line. A missed tackle right there. You see Moss run outside for the pitch like he has to. Another missed tackle, and great execution of the option from really a drop-back quarterback, capable person.
From his 45, with time, a gain of but 3 to Rodney Hunter out of the backfield. Carter pounded him shy of midfield. Carter, the linebacker, 6'3", 231 from South Miami High School.
You'll notice no panic on the part of Tulane's offense. Controlled passes, option action, swing it to the back out of the backfield. They're not panicked. They're not going deep six in it. They are looking to drive this ball down Florida State.
Have plenty of time, better than 13 minutes remaining in the contest. On the draw. Letting room for Adams to midfield, setting up 3rd and 3. James Chaney on the stop for Florida State.
Florida State using a lot of their second personnel here. Here we see a couple of the starters coming back in. Adams right there from the fullback position, throwing his weight around, giving a good punch up the middle when Tulane needs it.
He's carried the ball 10 times, Keith, for 35 yards. 3rd and 3 here. Big snap. Mix up. First down. Touchdown. Alfonso Williams ran into the boundary. That run-pass option seems to be the most effective play that Jones has in his arsenal.
Well, it doesn't even matter if Hunter goes the wrong way. Hunter working back to our right should have been going left. It doesn't matter to Jones. Pick out the marker and put a foot down and get out of bounds.
Great speed. Bobby Bowden said entering the game that fellow there in Terrence Jones was the most talented combination quarterback in the entire nation. He certainly hasn't disappointed tonight. His team trails 34-21 in the 4th. And it's by McIntosh at the 28-yard line. A pickup of 16 more.
Again, a very controlled play, a simple square-in route. We've only seen it a couple of times. Look to the left of your screen. McIntosh going to work inside. The ball in front of the linebackers, behind the linebackers, in front of the safety, right low to the ground where it can't be picked off. 1st and 10 Tulane.
McIntosh to the near side, 127 yards receiving and 2 scores. Up the gut. To the 17. Leroy Butler on the stop. Listen to the crowd in the Superdome.
You're going to see a running back make a great tackle into a momentum builder. Butler's going to square up, face him up, and get simply run over, although he makes a good tackle. Hard to bring down a big man in the open field. That's a momentum builder.
They like what they see. With 11 and a half minutes remaining in the game. 14. Calvin Smith there for the Seminoles.
Hard to tell what Tulane was trying to accomplish there. Appeared to be a mix-up in the backfield. But even when things are going wrong, things are going right, if you have a mix-up in the backfield, you still pick up a yard and a half.
Bobby Bowden's defenders have made big play after big play. Maybe they can rise to the occasion here with the blitz on. Jones got him for the end zone. McIntyre. His third score of the night. A remarkable comeback for a team which once trailed 31-14.
You'd think that Mardi Gras and Bourbon Street had come indoors. An extremely enthusiastic and right now very happy Tulane crowd.
To add the extra point, Todd Wiggins. A 10-play drive. And it's good. We got 10 minutes to go, and we got a football game. 6th-ranked Florida State, 34. Tulane on the sake of this grab, Keith, 28.
Third time we've seen an excellent pass by Jones and a great catch. Oh, it just doesn't get any better than that. Good coverage by Corian Freeman. I don't know, in all my playing days and watching football and looking at things, I don't know how you defend that. That is perfect execution of an out route.
What a night for McIntyre. His 8th grab, his 3rd touchdown. We'll be back in a moment.
Clint Eastwood is a little upset.
Seems some misguided individuals out there are abusing our public lands, and I don't like it. And I don't think you do either. Vandalizing parks and robbing historic sites or overrunning wild areas, those are ours, and we have to save them. As I see it, these clowns can either clean up their act or get out of town.
Write Take Pride in America. Post Office Box 1339, Jessup, Maryland, 20794.
Catch the best of Florida State sports on Sunshine Network.
It's easy to think one person can't make a difference, but 200 million people can. If every one of us volunteered just 5 hours a week to the causes we care about, if we all donated just 5% of what we earn, there'd be almost no limit to what we can do. Just 5 hours, just 5%. When you think about it, it's not that much to give. And what we could get back is immeasurable.
It is Wiggins kicking end over end for the senior Keith Rock. Slicing up the middle for the 30 and the 32. And boy, are tempers hot down below. A return of 26. This crowd during the commercial break, it may not be the largest gathering, certainly, that's ever been in the 70,000-seat Superdome, but it was awfully loud in support of a home-standing Green Wave.
On the kickoff.
We've got an a kicking team violation, if you will, offside against Tulane. If you're Florida State, I would think you'd be content with the return at your own 32, not take the chance of a fumble or a big hit and a big play.
Offside, kicking team on the kickoff. Penalty decline, first down.
In the second half, Bobby Bowden Seminoles have been outscored 14-3. A single field goal, the only scoring punch by FSU. Listen to the crowd now in the Superdome. The reverse to Lewis. Lindsey Burton and Corey Dowden from the secondary. Tulane starting to believe.
Florida State thinking that momentum on their side, everything going their way, they'd over-pursue. Florida State could catch them off guard with the reverse. Handoff to Smith, working right. Lewis coming back to the left. And gentlemen, there's nowhere to go. Great discipline and patience by the Tulane defense.
The running backs are Marion Butts and Sammy Smith. Anthony to the near side. Play action. Ferguson complete to the tight end, O'Malley near midfield. A first down for Florida State.
Unlike Tulane, Florida State very much utilizes its tight end, O'Malley and Roberts, able to be great blockers as well as get upfield. Right side of your screen, outside release, work upfield, clear to linebacker. Ferguson delivers the ball well. First down, Florida State.
And the first time, Keith, that O'Malley has caught the ball tonight. It's 10 at the 47. Chip wants to throw again. All the time in the world. A great grab at the 34-yard line by Terry Anthony. Perfectly thrown, a tremendous catch. Hurried down and beaten.
Terry Anthony saying, if McIntosh can do it, I can too. Ferguson saying, if Jones can throw it, I can too. Perfect pass, excellent extension. Comes down with the ball. Florida State on the move.
The Seminole War Chant in the Superdome. They're heading toward the Marching Chief Band on 1st and 10, nursing a 6-point lead. A big drive. Sammy driving the pile inside the 30-yard line. One of the top 10 rushing performances in Florida State history taking place tonight. You know, Sammy Smith's career began right here in this stadium. In fact, it didn't begin on a very auspicious note. I think in his very first carry, he fumbled the football to set up a Tulane score about 5 years ago.
Actually fumbled it into the end zone and had to scoot it out for the safety.
Second and 5. Sammy in the eye gets the ball. This is Smith for the 25. Sammy Smith, who had carried the ball 39 times in 4 games entering this contest, has carried it 25 times tonight for 209 yards.
Well, coming into the contest, reports from the Florida State camp that Smith was unhappy with the playing time and the number of carries, and if he was going to be effective, they had to give him the ball. Well, he's gotten his opportunity tonight, and he sure responded well.
A 6-point game, 3rd and 2. The blitz on. They pitch to Sammy, and he has the first down. It's just jaw-to-jaw football, kid.
It doesn't get any better if you're a purist. If you like the running game, if you like offensive blocking, if you like grunting and grinding, this is what you like. Pitch, inside, cut, butts, great block on the linebacker. Now he just starts churning. Here's where characters develop, Paul. Here's where a team concept and a team effort comes to play.
Ronald Lewis to the near side. Anthony to the far side. Keith Ross replaces Smith in the eye. That's Butts, the fullback. Butts inside. And inside the 20 and down to the 17. This drive began for Florida State at its 32-yard line. That was the 7th play of the drive. And not only has Florida State held on to the football, but they've also erased close to 4 minutes off the clock, which shows less than 7 minutes to go now at 6:55, and Florida State leading, but by 6, 34-28, in a game in which it was favored by nearly 30 points to win.
I think the spread, the margin, the favorite, if you will, was somewhere around 27 points. Somebody forgot to tell Tulane.
On 2nd and 5 at the 17. Ferguson dumping. Complete to Anthony. Into the end zone. His second touchdown reception of the night. Harrison and Price with contact, but they couldn't bring him down. Some 5,000 Seminole fans and alumni made the trip to New Orleans, making breathe just a bit easier. The score coming with 6:28 to go. What a drive.
What a necessary drive. Coming at a time when you have to have it. Something the offensive coaches have got to be pleased with. I'm going to tell you something. Price hasn't missed very many tackles tonight. Terry Anthony is rapidly becoming one of the most dangerous receivers with the catch, running after the catch that Florida State has. That time getting into the end zone with great effort.
The Seminoles look to be going for two. Flags down. I believe they took too much time to get the two-point try off. Now, does that change your strategy? Do you call on Chip to kick it, or you try for a two-point conversion from 7 yards out?
Well, my personal opinion would be you bring in Andrews to convert. Florida State looking and calculating and saying, what if Tulane does this and what if Tulane does that, making the decision to go for 2 points. A lot of times, Paul, what happens is the offense will forget all the celebrating that's going on, will forget that the referee marks the ball and the 25-second clock is running. In fact, we've got the same problem right now as Coach Bowden turns his back. We're at 7, 6, 5 on the 25-second clock. They will not get this kick off.
Gene Hope, or Halp rather, the Seminole being assisted to the dressing room. And again, Florida State takes too much time. The indecisiveness there, talking about it.
I tell you, the first one was probably the player's fault. This one is a coaching error.
Offense, still try.
And I don't mean to be so critical by that, because that happens. You know, you've got to get 3 or 4 or 6 other people on there to make the kick than you do to go for 2. Florida State coach is late getting that team out there.
This will be a 30-yard extra point off the leg of Richie Andrews. Perfect nonetheless. 41-28. Our score, 6:28 to go in the football game. It's been a little bit better, hasn't it, than you thought it might have been? The way Tulane has hung in there, Florida State still in control. Back with the finish right after this.
Want inside information on football?
I've been reading the sporting news for 12 years now, and when it comes to inside information, this is the next best thing to a coach's meeting. The sporting news, more football facts and stats than any other sports weekly.
Call 1-800-922-8700 and get 55 issues of the sporting news for 4 payments of just $7.50. Call now, 1-800-922-8700. That's 1-800-922-8700.
The excitement of the Sport of Kings comes to life every weeknight at 6:30 here on the Sunshine Network. From Gate to Wire, Racing Report will bring you the thrill of thoroughbred racing from Calder Racecourse. Be a winner. Watch Racing Report weeknights at 6:30 on the Sunshine Network.
Number 8, Terry Anthony, celebrating his second touchdown of the game, Keith. 3 receptions for 61 yards for Terry, the junior from Daytona Beach and Mainland High School. This is Andrews' kick. It'll come down to Pierce and bring it out of the end zone. Weaving his way up to the 20-yard line. 6:22 remaining, 41-28. And if it's anything, if we have learned anything over the course of the events this evening here in the Superdome, is that Terrence Jones is capable of working some voodoo magic to bring his Green Wave back into the game.
Well, I said earlier, this is a weird place. And it really is. The acoustics, the lighting, when you look up on that gray, dull ceiling versus daylight or dark, it's really a strange place to play football if you're not used to it.
Jones to the air. Complete, shy of a first down at the 27-yard line. On the receiving end is Jeff Kenyo, the tight end, the sophomore. Felton Hayes, the senior linebacker, 3-year letterman. On the stop, it was a low toss anyway. The 13th completion of the night for officially 195 yards for Jones. Trailing by by 13. He'll swing it out of the backfield. And a great grab just to get it down by Rodney Hunter. And Hunter is popped by the hardest hitting Seminole in Stan Schreiber. Here is a guy renowned for his tenacity in the tradition of my broadcast partner, Keith Jones.
He even looks like me with a helmet on, except he's about 3 inches taller, about 40 pounds heavier, and about 0.2 of a second faster. That's the best play for a strong safety. The tight end blocks down, you immediately look for screen, you bust the coverage, and you get up there for a good tackle.
3rd and 5 following the loss of 2. Jones can scramble now, and it's caught for a first down. Michael Pierce. He threaded that right into coverage. John Hadley was there. You needed luck to find the receiver in Pierce.
In order to contain the Tulane offensive attack, you've got to be able to get upfield and make Terrence Jones throw the ball early. If you give him time to sprint outside, he's going to kill you almost every time.
He has more yards through the air than on the ground. 210 now officially. You saw the stat a moment ago. He's being chased again. Floats it upfield, and it's nearly intercepted. Deflected by Felton Hayes. The intended receiver was Pierce a 3rd time. Gabbard, the senior tackle, was given chase.
If you're Florida State's defensive line coach, Chuck Amato, you'd like to run out there on that field and tell your ends and your offside tackles that have contained, slow your rush up. Don't pursue so hard and make Terrence Jones stay in that pocket where inside help can help you.
2nd and 10. From the 43. Jones going wide open. McIntosh, and he overshot him at the 43-yard line. He got away from Stan Schreiber there. He was open.
That he was. Maurice Nelson, the flanker on that side, had run in a deep pattern, taking the corner and the safety with him. Schreiber a little late getting over, and McIntosh on a combination route. Flanker, outside man deep, inside man outcut was open, and Terrence overthrew him.
That stops the clock with 4:37 remaining. 3rd down and 10 for the Tulane Greenway. And it's on 43. The blitz is on, and they get sack number 4 of Terrence Jones, and they did it by bringing the linebackers along with the strong safety in Schreiber with a nickelback set.
Florida State so far tonight relatively successful on bringing pressure, but you can also get burned very easily on it.
Loss on the play of 4, and here is Noisy apparently to punt on 4th and 14, trailing 41-28.
Florida State has no one back, looking for the fake. This ball will hit, and if it gets a bounce, will roll for a long time.
Yeah, it will roll inside the 15. It's still rolling, and at the 10-yard line, it is down by Tulane's Rick Crozier. That's a 51-yard punt and roll. The best of the year statistically for the sophomore in Micah Noisy. The Seminoles trying to kill 3:44 off the clock, get back on the charter and fly home tonight with a victory.
I tell you, the more I spend time in this place, the more I see the Tulane Green Wave, the more I follow Florida State athletics. Coming in the Superdome and getting any kind of victory is probably a major achievement, regardless of who you're playing.
Leading 41-28. This is Butts, the fullback. A yard or 2. 2 timeouts remaining for Tulane, and a pair as well for Florida State. Andy Treadway on the tackle, along with Lonnie Martins. The last time Florida State had the football, Chip Ferguson engineered a scoring march that killed 4:20 off the clock. As we near the 3-minute mark, he's trying to do the same here. The back split wide behind him with 3:05 to play. It's a loss by Butts. Flag down. Martz was there along with the tackle Richard Sauter. It's been a busy night for referee Terry Monk as he talks to Vincent Mulmore, the linebacker. Guess who that's against?
Things still heated down on the field in terms of exchanges between players.
Dead ball, face mask, 5 yards, against the defense. Be third down.
You see and read the lips of Greg Davis. He's saying dead ball face mask. That means after the play was whistled dead.
Well,
one of his greenies yanked on the cage.
What will sometimes happen, being a former defensive back, is receivers will come down and try to cut. A defensive player will try to get his hands down. The play's over, but the offensive player is committed. You get your hands down, you're trying to keep them off of you, and you are very often.
Face mask against the defense. Replay second down.
Excuse me, jumping in there on Terry. A lot of times you'll grab that face mask to turn that head away to get them off your ankles or your knees.
See if we can pick it up on the replay. That was not a dead ball. That was rather live.
And it wasn't downfield either. I stand corrected.
Lonnie Martz.
The flag came from the defensive backfield position.
Well, thus far tonight, Florida State with 353 yards rushing, nearly triple its per-game average entering this contest. The Noles are being held to 120 on a per-game basis. That's Jim Beakus, a new center. Freshman redshirt. 2nd and 3 for Ferguson. Ross with room. The 20. The sideline to midfield and more. Martz runs him down. A gain of 54 yards. They're going to pop the 400-yard rushing plateau with gallops like that.
As you watch Ross run, watch Price come up to fill the lane and gets knocked down by his own corner. That allows Ross to continue upfield. Look at the team speed of Tulane. 3 and 4 people in pursuit and in a position to make the play. Simple handoff, sweep action coming right at you. And watch Price get knocked down by his own corner. Right there. Unable to fill the lane, and Ross is off to the races.
It's turning into a big fourth quarter for Florida State. 2.5 minutes to play, leading 41-28. The draw to Ross. Daylight. The 20. The 10. And out of bounds, first and goal, Seminole. Mitchell Price, the free safety. That is 89 yards in 2 snaps for the oldest Seminole in Keith Ross.
When you talk about competitors, they don't get any better than Keith Ross. Look at the lane just wide open. Missed tackle, cuts back outside, eludes the corner. Price has to come to make the touchdown-saving tackle. We've said it before, Paul. Of all the Seminoles, you've got to respect and admire this young man as much as any.
2:21 remaining. And it's Ross inside the 5. Well, should Florida State go on ahead and punch it into the end zone as Brown makes the tackle there, the score that will be printed in the newspapers across the country tomorrow will in no way reflect the football game we've watched tonight.
Well, don't think that that score is going to automatically go up by 6 or 7. Remember, 2 times early in the 3rd quarter, Florida State inside Tulane's 5. Only 3 points in those 2 drives. A fumble made one not work, and a field goal by Andrews, 3 points when they were in there twice.
Butts and Ross still in the backfield. They're trying to get Ross a touchdown. Now the reverse. This is Dawsey on a cakewalk. Well, now they got the wideouts rushing into the end zone for touchdowns.
Well, if you can't use your fullback or your tailback between tackles or on sweeps, we'll use a wide receiver coming around on a reverse.
A 4-yard TD reverse. 90 yards in 6 plays. And Ross hands to Dawsey.
Watch the block by Ferguson there on the pursuit man, and Dawsey into the end zone.
28. Take a look at it from ground level.
If you're an offensive lineman, what you want to do is get on a man and stay with him. Keep him from recognizing and go back. See Tulane commit to Ross. Dawsey coming back the other way. Ferguson gets a good block. Price unable to come quick enough to make the tackle.
433 yards rushing in this football game for the Seminoles. A year ago, Bobby Bowden's troops had better than 600 yards total offense against Tulane. But the physical superiority of Florida State, ranked 6th in the nation, has obviously been displayed in the late going. They have just worn the Green Wave down.
That in time of possession. Through 3 quarters, Florida State had the ball almost 29 of the 45 minutes. The Tulane defense has been on the field a long time. Defense has scored in spurts on short, concise, little time-consuming drives.
Tony and Strickland. And this is Tony. 15-20. And it's Sanders, close to the 35-yard line. 1:25 to go in the game on a 35-yard return. And back onto the field. Here comes Terrence Jones. Well, Florida State's record will climb to 4-1. Tulane will suffer its 2nd loss of the year. The Green Wave will enter an outing next week with Southern Miss here in the Dome at 3-2. The loss on the play back to the 26. This is the 3rd outing in a 6-game homestand for Greg Davis's club. In fact, the Green Wave playing 8 of 11 dates in New Orleans this year.
It's also the next to last road contest for Florida State. The only remaining away game for Coach Bowden's Seminoles is in Columbia, South Carolina.
Jones, 16 of 27, 210 yards, 3 TDs, but 4 interceptions. Melvin Adams, and he stops the clock. Calvin Smith was shoving him that way. Also there for Florida State was Howard Deakins, the outside linebacker. This has been a game that the officials have had to keep them apart.
Well, the rivalry between Florida State and Tulane can only grow. They have entered into a long-term home-and-home contract extending well into the 90s that began in 1983 with that very unusual actual game point loss that Florida State had to Tulane, and then that was taken away because of the ineligibility of the quarterback English. So Florida State does lead the series 5-0, but they play years ahead, and I think that rivalry will intensify.
45 seconds remaining as Jones looks deep, but at midfield, it's caught by McIntosh. A dive and grab. That'll stop the clock as they move the stakes forward. A gain on the play of 13.
Never say die and never say quit. That young man right there coming very close, nearing on almost or well over 7,000 yards of total offense in his career here at Tulane. Broke all the records in his junior year. Last year, probably as great a talent at the quarterback position from the run and shoot offense set that you could imagine.
Tulane has taken a timeout with 21 seconds to go. The wide receiver, and James Toney, the flanker, made the call. And Terrence Jones has thrown 39 touchdown passes. In fact, he's thrown 5 against the Seminoles. Bobby Bowden will be glad to see him graduate.
That he will. You know, Coach Bowden, 50th road win at Florida State, a great record on the road in places like Ohio State and Lincoln, Nebraska, and Baton Rouge, Louisiana, just up the road. It's unbelievable the success he's had on the road.
How do you take artificial turf and make it a sod game?
Well, I'll tell you, those not familiar with it, anytime Florida State goes into an opposing contest and they come out victorious on the road, you'll see one of the trainers with a little pair of those surgical scissors somewhere around the edge of the carpet. I hope they'll be very diplomatic there, and as Coach Coach Gregg looks on and not tear up too much, but I can guarantee you a little piece, a little sliver of that turf will be on the charter back to Tallahassee.
Well, the Bobby Bowden Traveling Road Show. This will be road win number 2. He'll take it. He's glad to get out of here with the W.
Very much so.
48-28, 21 ticks remaining. Jones for Prime. Deep. McIntosh just broken up by Diedrich Dodge. He broke on the ball well, and that's the score. And the 4th touchdown of the night for McIntosh if Diedrich's not there.
That it was. Florida State running kind of a man underneath, trying to protect against someone like a McIntosh. 9 catches, 155 yards, and 3 TDs. And I know Diedrich Dodge will be glad to get out here and not face number 14 any longer.
Yeah, McIntosh is on Diedrich Dodge and the Seminoles all-opponent team this year. Great hands, a little bit of speed, too. 15 seconds remaining. Near midfield, 2nd and 10. He's done that throughout the game. Inside the 20. With 3 seconds to go. They're still on their feet and loving it.
Nobody's left. Nobody has left the Superdome. You haven't seen a bunch of people in the green and the white, the colors of Tulane, get up and leave. They're all on their feet. They're cheering. They're yelling. You see Jones do something very intelligent. Gets in the open, knows he doesn't have a lot of time, lays down, and immediately calls timeout in order to give them a chance with 3 seconds left to put more points on the board.
31-yard game. Coach Bowden said, let's just shake hands and go home. The next game for Florida State, Georgia Southern. Next Saturday, Eric Russell, a great coach that he is, will be bringing the Eagles into Tallahassee.
A great program, the perennial 1AA powerhouse of the 80s are the Eagles. And I tell you what, Florida State would be well advised not to take the small school from up north lightly.
Well, the first game on turf and better than 13 innings comes up a win. And I think the loss column there is more a reflection of the quality of teams that they played on carpet.
No doubt about it. You're talking about places like Pittsburgh and Nebraska and Oklahoma and folks of that caliber, and it's tough to go into those places in their backyards and be successful.
Last play of the game. McIntosh, Ferdinand, and Nelson. 3 receivers for Jones. He'll throw it into the end zone if he can. He cannot. Sack number 5 ends it. The defense, which played well to complement the offense, this one is over. And it belongs to Florida State, 48-28. The Seminoles at 4-1. Tulane now at 3-2. Back to wrap it up here in New Orleans and the Superdome already in the